Chapter 460. Wishful Thinking. Muronging sneered. Why should we support a devil like you? Because you have to, Li Wei said and clapped his hands gently. Behind him, a woman in a dark gray cloak slowly walked out and stood there. The woman's face was hidden under the cloak, and it was hard to see what she looked like. However, there was a dangerous aura emanating from her body. The gold and silver swordsmen, who were originally standing beside Wu Jizi, suddenly widened their eyes in unison, after which the gold and silver swords on their backs flew into the air and shot towards the woman. However, Li Wei stretched out his folding fan and blocked the gold and silver swords. Muronging had already understood something. She immediately pinched her nose and yelled, "Everyone, don't breathe." The gold and silver swordsmen were a pair of sharp weapons created by the Murong family. Not only did the two of them learn the long-lost yin and yang swords, but they also had a unique talent, which was to smell the poisonous fog in the air. The two of them must have sensed that there was poison when they suddenly attacked. That was why Muronging had made such a decisive decision and asked everyone to hold their breaths. Li Wei clapped his hands gently and said, "Alliance Master Murong, I didn't expect you to be able to tell. However, it's too late." He pointed at the woman in the cloak beside him and continued, "Let me introduce Song Fuya, the former clan master of the Medicine King Valley's Yin Gate. She's now my left protector. Her poison is an improved cultivation dissipation powder. It's invisible and colorless, and it spreads through the air." Wu Jizi and Master Yusu simultaneously activated their internal energy, only to realize that their seas of energy were empty and they couldn't muster any strength at all. Muronging was unable to activate her cultivation either. Even though she reacted quickly, she still managed to absorb some of the improved cultivation dissolving powder in the blink of an eye. If you don't get the antidote, none of you will be able to recover your skills. Li Wei looked at the three poisoned experts in front of him with his hands behind his back. In order to get your support, I made this decision. However, I promise that I will not mistreat you in the future. Even if we die, we won't let you get what you want." Muronging gritted her teeth and glared at Li Wei fiercely. Alliance Master Murong looks really good when she's angry. Li Wei smiled and looked at Muronging. I wonder how much kindness Alliance Master Murong's fiancé accumulated in his previous life. He actually has such a blessing in this life. Ba. Master Yusu put his palms together and looked slightly regretful. When I saw you back then, your eyes were pure and you didn't look like a pervert. Now, it seems like I misjudged him back then. Master Yusu, your words are heartbreaking, Wang Xian said with a smile. Li Wei looked at the eminent monk in front of him and said, I was indeed just an innocent little monk back then. Didn't I get to where I am today because of you guys? Buddha's words are not spoken. Every drink and every peck is predetermined. Master Yusu, why are you denying the sins you have committed in the past by cultivating the Dharma in vain? Ba. Master Yusu did not feel the slightest bit remorseful. Since you have already entered Buddhism, you should break the mortal world. Besides, Sect Masterly, you have fallen in love with a disciple of a demonic cult. That's absolutely unacceptable. What a load of nonsense. Li Wei humphed coldly. My name is Li Wei, and I will become the emperor of the martial arts world. My words are the rules of the martial arts world. My words are the laws of this world. Wishful thinking. Wu Jizi, who had been sitting cross-legged at the side, suddenly opened his eyes. He instantly turned into a ray of white light and appeared in front of Li Wei. Thunder attracting righteous path. Dharma convergence. Thunder and lightning suddenly appeared on Wu Jizi's hands, and he slapped Li Wei's temples forcefully. However, Li Wei's finger had already pierced into Wu Jizi's heart. Wu Jizi stood there with his hands in front of Li Wei. His fair skin had now become charred, as if he had been burned. Me. Ta. Fo? Master Yusu chanted loudly, and the disciples of the Wu-Tang clan in the hall also sat down cross-legged with their arms crossed, as if they were sending off Taoist Wuzi, who had already ascended to immortality. Li Wei took 2 steps back and looked at Taoist Yujizi, who was still standing there like a statue. He couldn't help but exclaim in admiration, Taoist Wuzi is indeed formidable. He actually forcefully activated his true chi and caused it to rub violently in his body, forming the power of thunder and lightning. Unfortunately, this move can only be used once, and he was burnt by the electricity first. Wu Jizi used his last bit of vitality at the last moment to turn his true chi into thunder and lightning, but he also lost his life. He initially wanted to kill Li Wei in one move, but he didn't expect Li Wei to be one step ahead of him. Li Wei, do you dare to fight me? Morong Ying was dressed in a white jade-colored cheongsam, and her legs were extremely eye-catching. She stared at Li Wei in front of her and pulled out her sword. Do you dare to fight me? Of course I dare, but now is not the time. Li Wei said arrogantly, after all, I don't want to kill you. Coward. Morong Ying sneered. Li Wei was surrounded by the black and white impermanents, who were also his protectors. At this moment, Morong Ying's words made the white impermanents unable to sit still anymore. He immediately pounced forward and grabbed Morong Ying's throat with his left hand using the soul-stealing claw. The soul-stealing claw was a chokehold. Chapter 461. Alliance Master Morong, I still have a use for you. After saying that, Li Wei went down the mountain. All the disciples of the Wu-Tang Mountain were locked up, and those who disobeyed would be killed on the spot. This was the most powerful sect in the martial arts world, but it had changed overnight. The sect leader, Wu Jizi, had ascended to immortality, and the rest of the people were all imprisoned. Only one or two of them took advantage of the chaos to escape. Li Wei returned to his own sect and left the two guardians behind to manage the Wu-Tang Mountain for him. Morong Ying and Master Yu Su were also locked up there, waiting for them to surrender. At this moment, Li Fan still had no idea that his fiancée was in prison. He stood at the school gate and looked at a Cadillac Escalade parked in front of him. Mr. Li, our boss would like to see you. A bodyguard in a black suit stood there and spoke to Li Fan politely. Your boss? Do I know him? Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at the guy who had popped out of nowhere. Lin Yuhsian followed beside Li Fan and gently tugged at Li Fan's arm with a slightly fearful expression. Don't interact with such people. Although she was already following Li Fan to manage his security company, Lin Yuhsian still couldn't help but feel a little afraid when faced with such things. It's okay. You can go back first. Li Fan gently hugged Lin Yuhsian's shoulder lest she worried. Qingshan, send Miss Lin off? Yes, big brother. An ordinary-looking man in his 30s nodded. His name was Sun Qingshan, and he was the driver that Ling Tian had chosen for Li Fan. Initially, Li Fan rejected it, but Ling Tian was right. He was no longer an ordinary high school student, and he had some status in City A. He had to be ostentatious when he went out, but being too high-profile was indeed not suitable for him. Therefore, Sun Qingshan drove a very ordinary black Audi A4, which was obviously different from the luxury version of the Escalade in front of him. Miss Lin, please. Sun Qingshan usually did not speak much and only followed some simple instructions. He opened the car door for Lin Yuhsian. Before she got into the car, Lin Yuhsian cast a concerned look at Li Fan. Don't worry, they won't dare to do anything in broad daylight. Li Fan watched as Lin Yuhsian got into the Audi and was relieved. Mr. Li, please. The bodyguard also opened the door of the car for Li Fan. A middle-aged man was already sitting inside. He was wearing a Chinese tunic suit and had a pipe in his mouth. He was flipping through today's newspaper. How disappointing. I thought it would be a beauty. Li Fan sighed while the man sitting behind smiled. Now, with Brother Li's status, will it be difficult to find a few beauties? Who am I? I'm just a high school student. Li Fan stood there with a smile on his face. At this moment, a woman's voice suddenly rang in his ears. Sun Jiaoyang, the boss behind the Yellow Clothes Syndicate. He's very shrewd. Li Fan looked back, and there was no one around. But why did he hear Yushi's voice? Was this girl nearby? Brother Li, my chair doesn't have any spikes. Sun Jiaoyang said again. Li Fan took off his school bag and sat in the car. Mr. Sun, you're a legendary big shot. Isn't it a little inappropriate for you to pick up a small fry like me at the school gate? Brother Li is not a small fry. Recently, you've shaken the world and are in the limelight in City A. The car was already moving slowly. Sun Jiaoyang said casually, nowadays, Everyone in Cydia knows your name, brotherly, Mr. Sun. You flatter me? Li Fan shrugged. I'm just an ordinary high school student, not like what Mr. Sun said. An ordinary high school student can't handle my yellow clothes syndicate. Li Fan replied naturally, I'm sorry. I've requisitioned a piece of the yellow clothes syndicate's territory in the old city. If Mr. Sun is unhappy, I'll visit you for a drink and apologize another day. Li Fan's words may seem shameless, but his answer was flawless. Sun Jiaoyang was not in a hurry as he slowly closed the newspaper. Then let's change the topic. How about talking about Sam? I'm sure you're very interested in him. Sam? Who's that? Li Fan continued to play dumb, while Sun Jiaoyang tapped his pipe in the ashtray and continued, Brotherly, it's boring like this. Let's not beat around the bush. Being honest will deepen each other's feelings. I'm the most honest person. Li Fan immediately clapped his hands and said, in the past, when I picked up tin yuan on the road, I would give it to the teacher. It's rare to see an honest student like me. Brotherly, you're still young. Sun Jiaoyang continued, in this line of work, there's a principle. There are no eternal enemies or eternal friends, only eternal interests. He looked at Li Fan as if he wanted to persuade him. I'm only telling you this because I think you and I hit it off. After all, in City A, I still have some power. Brother, you're still young. Don't ruin your own future. I don't want to go to the cemetery to visit you at this time next year. Thank you, Mr. Sun, for thinking so highly of me. Li Fan cupped his hands. However, I'm not a lucky person. I can't withstand Mr. Sun's love. Brotherly, do you mean that you're going to confront the Yellow Suit Syndicate to the end? You're really wronging me. I have no enmity with the Yellow Suit Syndicate. We're all friends. Why would we confront each other? Li Fan laughed. Moreover, I'm just a high school student. I usually have to focus on my studies. I'm just a student. Are you afraid of me, Mr. Sun? All right, I've said what I need to say. Since Brotherly is so determined, I won't force it. Sun Jiaoyang said as he gently knocked on the car window. The SUV stopped by the side of the road. The bodyguard got out of the car and opened the door for Li Fan. Brotherly, please. Then I'll take my leave. Mr. Sunday, Li Fan cupped his hands at Sun Jiaoyang. We'll never meet again. Oh right, I have something to tell Mr. Sunday. Mr. Sun has a big business and your life is precious. So, please don't make life difficult for people like us who don't have money. If we die, no one will feel sorry for us. But if anything happens to Mr. Sun, it'll be terrible. Can I take this as a threat? Sun Jiaoyang smiled at Li Fan. That depends on Mr. Sunday. Li Fan's answer was flawless. I hope Mr. Sun's career will be successful and smooth sailing. After the car started moving again, Sun Jiaoyang's face turned cold as he ordered his bodyguard. Tonight at 12 o'clock, I want extraordinary security to disappear. Chapter 462. Lin Yu, you go home first. Li Fan sat in the office of the small building and said to Lin Yuhsian, who was doing the accounts. Why? Lin Yuhsian was a little surprised. It wasn't time to get off work yet. She was still very serious and responsible when it came to work. Lin Yuhsian felt that Li Fan had walked into another different world, and the only bridge between him and her was the security company. Lin Yuhsian was a little worried. Her boyfriend's internship period hadn't ended yet, but Li Fan seemed to be getting further and further away from her. It might not be peaceful tonight. Li Fan looked out of the window. A silver van was parked there. It had been a few hours, and there was no movement from the people inside. He and Sun Jiaoyang from the Yellow Clothes group had completely fallen out. Sun Jiaoyang's high and mighty attitude made Li Fan very uncomfortable. And Sun Jiaoyang shouldn't be a good person. Tonight, he would probably bring people to destroy his security company. It seemed that a decisive battle was coming. I don't care. I will stay here tonight. When Lin Yuhsian was willful, there was nothing she could do. The little lass ignored Li Fan. She lowered her head and continued to look at the accounts. No matter what Li Fan said, she ignored him. Qingchen, you are responsible for protecting Miss Lin. Li Fan was also at his wit's end. He let Sun Qingchen protect Lin Yuhsian. This seemingly ordinary driver wasn't one of the hooligans who joined the security company at the beginning, but an expert brought by Ling Tian. According to Ling Tian, Sun Qingqian's strength wasn't weak. He had saved his life before, so now he was determined to follow Ling Tian. And when Ling Tian joined his small group, Sun Qingqian also became his bodyguard. Got it, boss. Sun Qingqian nodded and stood beside Lin Yuxian. Comrade Shaolin, don't leave Qingqian tonight. Okay? What about you? Can't you protect me? Lin Yuxian finally raised her head and looked at Li Fan. I can't split myself, Accountant Lin. Li Fan shrugged. I'm afraid there will be a fierce battle tonight. Our brothers are ready. Huang Lei was distributing weapons to a few security guards. Because they weren't a criminal company, Fifan Express didn't have any powerful firearms. What Huang Lei distributed were electric batons. These stun batons were all high-quality goods bought at a high price. Each of them was camouflaged and half a meter long. Apart from being able to illuminate, the metal parts on top could also emit high-voltage electricity, instantly knocking out the enemy. The control of knives in the country was relatively strict. Even these stun batons were approved by Li Fan through some connections. Li Fan didn't let everyone stay. He only left a few with slightly better skills, about a dozen of them. At this time, there wasn't a need to leave too many people. If he let those who weren't skilled stay, they would just be throwing their lives away. Don't forget the bulletproof vest, Li Fan reminded. For the safety of his men, Li Fan would never be stingy with his spending. Don't worry, big brother. It has already been distributed. Huang Lei patted the bulletproof vest on him. You don't even fight. Why are you wearing it? Lin Yusun couldn't help but ask. I don't know how to fight, but I know how to join in the fun. Huang Lei waved the baseball bat in his hand. All along, everyone said that I'm a big mouth. Today is the time for me, Emperor Huang Lei, to show off my elegance. How are you like an emperor? Lin Yuxin pouted. Huang Lei was just about to point at his crotch when he remembered that she was his big brother's woman. He swallowed his words. Ignore him. When the fight starts, he'll find a place to hide. Ling Tian arranged some tools and pulled out a Glock 17 pistol from his trousers. He checked the bullets in it. Looking at the group of people around him staring at each other, Ling Tian asked seriously, didn't I say? I'm a Hong Kong citizen and I have a gun license. Your gun license, can it be used in the mainland? Of course it can be used if I have connections. Ling Tian continued to check his gun. As long as it's for self-defense, I can use it. Li Fan was speechless. This Ling Tian was too capable. He shocked him time and time again. It's about time. I think the show is about to start. Li Fan clapped his hands. Everyone get ready. We're going to receive the guests from the yellow uniform group. As he spoke, Li Fan stood on the windowsill and looked at the scenery outside. A voice entered Li Fan's ears. An expert is here. It was Yushi talking to him again. Where was this girl hiding? As he did not know Yushi's location, Li Fan could not transmit his voice to her. I'll help you stop that expert. Yushi's voice came again. I'll leave the rest to you. Then I'll have to trouble you. Li Fan did not know if Yushi could hear him. After thanking her, he began to order the others to prepare for the enemy. While Li Fan was preparing, there was movement on the other side. Sharkanov was a mercenary. To be precise, he was once a secret agent of the KGB. However, due to personal reasons, he was removed from the KGB and was even exiled to the Middle East, banned from returning. Thus, he chose to become a notorious mercenary. At least this way, he would not have to worry about food or clothing. No matter how dirty the mission was, as long as the price was right, Sharkanov would carry it out. It was the same this time. With Sun Jiaoyang's help, Sharkanov sneaked into the Chinese border. Sharkanov was skilled, but he was very cautious. He checked his silenced pistol. Everything was fine. He just needed to complete the mission and get the money. His goal was to take down a Chinese organization. These Chinese monkeys were his bounty. Sharkanov looked at the time. It was about time. He put on his tactical glasses, kicked open the warehouse door, and rushed in. There were a few gunmen standing in the warehouse. They looked at him and shouted something at him. Sharkanov's forte was his marksmanship. He immediately raised his gun and shot the gunman to the ground. In the end, there was a Chinese gunman left. He looked at him in fear and kept shouting. He was probably begging him. There were always people like him. People who were afraid of death were really cowards. Without hesitation, Sharkanov raised his gun and shot through the man's head. What a sad man. He hoped that he could go and see their Buddha. Sharkanov drew a cross in front of him and passed through the warehouse to the agreed place. After he completed the mission, the employer should be waiting for him here. Chapter 463. Sun Jiaoyang stood in a very secluded office. He looked at the time. It's about time. He should be here. Just as his voice fell, the door was pushed open. Sharkanov walked in with strong steps. Sun Jiaoyang couldn't help but want to praise. This Russian mercenary is really sturdy. Looking at his muscles, that small arm is almost as thick as my leg. Sure enough, on time. Sun Jiaoyang praised. Sharkanov, for this operation, I arranged a few teammates for you. You should have seen them when you came in. Sun Jiaoyang spoke pure Russian. He used to travel between China and Russia all year round, so naturally he has a good grasp of Russian. Sharkanov was stunned for a moment. He did not speak for a long time. Mr. Sun, bad news? The people outside have all been killed. A lackey stumbled in and reported to Sun Jiaoyang. What? Sun Jiaoyang immediately frowned. Could it be that Li Fan has already made his move? No matter what, Mr. Sun is in danger. It's better to leave from the back door. Got it. Sun Jiaoyang also treasured his life very much. Before he left, he tiptoed and patted Sharkanov's sturdy shoulder. I'll leave the rest to you. You follow him. He will naturally tell you what to do. Sun Jiaoyang pointed at his subordinate. He also knows some Russian. Okay. Sharkanov secretly wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. He followed the subordinate, went out, got on a Santana, and drove to the old city. After Sun Jiaoyang left, he also sat in a black Mercedes-Benz. The driver is a subordinate who has been with him for a long time. That subordinate is his confidant. Sharkanov alone is not enough to deal with an expert like Li Fan. Sun Jiaoyang took out his pipe and filled it with expensive shredded tobacco. So, that woman called Qin Ming will help me solve everything? Night fell, the moon hung high. A woman wearing a black dress, holding an umbrella in her hand, was walking on the roof. Her steps were light, like a cat's. It snowed all year round in a city, and today is the same. The sky is fluttering with light snow. A black wildcat ran past. Its body as fast as the wind. The woman frowned slightly. Then, she pulled out a sword from her umbrella and stabbed forward. The wildcat didn't even have time to scream before 10 bloody holes appeared on its body. It then fell into a pile of snow, its blood mixing with the white snow. What a powerful slice snow sword. A woman wearing the vest of the Imperial Secret Service was standing on top of a telephone pole. She was half squatting there, and there was a black knife at her waist. The dignified Qin Ming is not by Li Wei's side. She actually came to such a small city. What a rare guest. Isn't Heartless Saber doing the same thing? Qin Ming raised her head and looked at Yu Shi, who was on the telephone pole. It seems that this small city is quite popular. Stupid. Yu Shi reminded Qin Ming. Don't you know who you are facing? Little tyrant Li Fan. His price is naturally higher. Qin Ming smiled. But if you are included, it will be even more expensive. Today, I will repay the enmity of a single glance. Yu Shi gently touched his eye patch with his left hand. It's a pity that you still have one eye. Qin Ming looked at Yu Shi's other eye and said, Your eye is so beautiful. It seems to be even more beautiful than mine. To be honest, I'm a little jealous. Qin Ming was a famous assassin in the pugilistic world, and her nickname was Throat Slash. Her purpose of coming here today was to take Li Fan's life. Qin Ming raised his umbrella to block the falling snowflakes. If you don't mind, can you leave your other eye behind too? Come and take it if you can. Yu Shi touched the black knife and said, The blackguard, Heartless Saber, is here to punish you. Before Yu Shi could finish speaking, Qin Ming's body seemed to have traveled through space and appeared in front of Yu Shi in the blink of an eye. At the same time, the sword in her hand went straight for Yu Shi's black, crystal-like eye. However, Yu Shi was not slow either. He immediately raised his knife, and the black knife went straight for Qin Ming's cheek. The two of them attacked with almost fatal moves. Clang! The two of them took a step back at the same time. and the two weapons collided, producing sparks. Others could not see it at all, but in that instant, the two of them had already exchanged more than 10 moves. Pooh! A bloody mark appeared on Yushi's neck, and the front of Qin Ming's shirt was also cut open, revealing the black bra inside. So you like this kind of thing? Qin Ming laughed. Why didn't you say so earlier? I don't mind showing you more. I'm not interested in flat breasts. I'm a C-cup. It'll be gone soon. Yushi raised his knife and a black light suddenly appeared in the air. It was as if even the moon was missing a corner. Even Qin Ming could not help but frown at such a knife technique. Qin Ming's body instantly appeared on a roof in the distance, and a treasured sword returned to the umbrella. Your knife technique has indeed improved. However, it's still a little worse than mine. As Qin Ming spoke, a bloody mark appeared on Yushi's lower abdomen. Just now, Qin Ming's sword had brushed past Yushi's lower abdomen. In the end, the Heartless Saber is still not comparable to my snow sword. Qin Ming revealed a smile towards Yushi. Next time, the sword will pierce your eyes. A sword appeared in Yushi's eyes. This Qin Ming had used her ultimate skill, and Yushi was actually unable to dodge it. I'll take this eye. Only Qin Ming's voice remained in her ears. But at this moment, two fingers extended out from the side, and with a clang, the sword was deflected. What? Qin Ming cried out in surprise as she looked at her rapier in disbelief. Yushi, you're too careless. Li Fan wore a gray down jacket as he stood beside Yushi and extended two fingers. He gently hugged Yushi's waist with one hand and whispered into her ear, Fortunately, I came over to take a look. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to keep your beautiful eyes. Why are you here? Yushi looked at Li Fan with dissatisfaction. Since you're here, what about over there? Don't worry, I'll be back soon. Li Fan looked at Qin Ming, who was holding an umbrella in front of him. Is this the expert that you invited? Your taste in underwear is not bad. Is that so? As long as you like it. Qin Ming held the umbrella as she stared at Li Fan in front of her. She seemed to be sizing him up, wondering how he was different from ordinary high school students. She's a famous assassin in the pugilistic world. Nickname, One Sword to the Throat. Yushi introduced to Li Fan. You must be careful of her sword. It's very fast. Chapter 464. Indeed. Qin Ming's smile was like a flower. By the time you see my sword, you will already be dead. Li Fan stretched out two fingers and suddenly pinched. Qin Ming just happened to appear in front of him, and the rapier in her hand was easily pinched by Li Fan's two fingers. Great sage plucking the stars. Li Fan easily pinched Qin Ming's rapier, causing Qin Ming to be shocked. Her snow sword was the fastest rapier in the world. Even Heartless Blade Yu, she could not keep up with her sword techniques. And this rising star of the pugilistic world in front of her, how did he manage to catch her rapier? Was it luck? Qin Ming shook her sword energy and flicked away Li Fan's fingers, then instantly thrust it out 10 times. Li Fan placed two fingers in front of him and continuously flicked away Qin Ming's rapier. No matter how hard Qin Ming tried, her opponent's rapier was unable to harm her at all. Impossible. Qin Ming did not dare to believe her eyes. Li Fan actually blocked all of her sword techniques? Other than the sect leader, there was actually someone else who could do it? How would she know that Li Fan possessed a pair of eyes, which was the nemesis of her rapier? Have you played enough? Li Fan held onto Qin Ming's rapier with one hand and said at the same time, If you've played enough, it's time for me to make my move. Li Fan's Ape King cannon directly smashed onto Qin Ming's lower abdomen. Bang! Qin Ming's body immediately turned into a cannonball and flew out, crashing into the wall behind her and creating a crater in the wall. The might of Li Fan's Ape King cannon was not light. After taking this move, even Qin Ming could not help but vomit a mouthful of blood. One slash to the throat? Li Fan pointed at his throat. Then why don't you give it a try? A mere little overlord is too arrogant. As Qin Ming spoke, she pulled herself out of the crater with killing intent in her eyes. I'll take your life. As she spoke, Qin Ming had already appeared in front of Li Fan. The rapier in her hand almost brushed past Li Fan's cheek, stabbing empty air. Li Fan looked at the sharp rapier and stretched out 3 fingers. I'll defeat you within 3 moves. Dream on. Qin Ming's sword slashed out 10 afterimages, but Li Fan had already appeared on her right side, easily dodging Qin Ming's attack. At the same time, Li Fan sent a palm strike towards Qin Ming, but it was blocked by her own umbrella. This umbrella was made of alloy and was very sturdy. Qin Ming usually did not use it. When she used it, it was only when her life was at stake. She could often use it to turn the situation around. However, when Li Fan's palm landed on the umbrella, a palm print appeared on the umbrella. The huge force caused the umbrella to fly out of Qin Ming's hand. Pooh! Li Fan's tiger claw grabbed onto Qin Ming's neck, and his fingers gently sank into Qin Ming's flesh. As long as Li Fan used a little more strength, Qin Ming's throat would be crushed by him. Next time, if you want to kill me, send a stronger assassin. You don't live up to your name. As he spoke, Li Fan pushed with his hand, throwing Qin Ming's body out. Qin Ming landed on the snowy ground, half squatting there with an ugly expression on her face. Your life will be mine sooner or later. She knew that she would not be able to take down Li Fan today, so she simply picked up the umbrella that was sent flying and used it to slide away. Her movement technique is not bad. Li Fan wiped off the blood on his hand. The next time you meet her, remember to dodge the moment her wrist moves. You will be easily tricked by her fake movements. Yushi was somewhat unconvinced. Also, aren't you afraid that something will happen to the company by coming to find me? Is it because of that little girl from Huashan? Little senior sister Xia Yi? Li Fan laughed. It's not peaceful these 2 days, so I let little senior sister stay in the hotel first. How can I let little senior sister participate in such a messy matter? You're very considerate of her. When Yushi said this, she was slightly jealous. After all, little senior sister came from a place without any disputes. Li Fan hurriedly explained. Her heart is still very weak. Huashan has just experienced a huge dispute. Yushi stared at Li Fan. Not only Huashan, you should also go to Wudong Mountain to take a look. Wudong Mountain? What happened to Wudong Mountain? This is the reason why I came to find you. Yushi said, your fiancé is already trapped in Wudong Mountain. The devil cult has occupied that place. What? Li Fan didn't quite believe it. What kind of strength did Muronging have? In the current martial arts world, how many people could be her opponent? She was trapped in Wudong Mountain by the devil cult? That's not possible, right? In short, she fell into the devil cult's trap. The higher-ups have informed me to rescue her. I think you might be willing to go with me. Yushi glanced at Li Fan. But I think it's better for you to deal with the matters in your hands. No need. Let's go now. Li Fan looked confident. My brothers are in the company. There won't be any problems. The yellow uniform group has made a big move. Can they be relied on? I trust them. Li Fan nodded. We've done bigger things than that. If we don't even trust each other, how can we do big things together? Before coming out, Ling Tian had guaranteed to Li Fan that there would be no problems with the company. Since you're so confident, then let's go now. Yushi trusted Li Fan. Are we going to use Qinggong or take a car? Li Fan asked. Neither. Yushi pointed to the tall building in the distance. The helicopter is already waiting for us. Fuck. She's a tycoon. Li Fan gave up and followed Yushi into the helicopter. At that moment, the yellow uniform group had already begun to attack the small earthen building under Shakanov's leadership. However, the courtyard of the earthen building had been repaired and was now 4 meters high, covered in glass shards. To be able to come down from above, half of them would be crippled. Even for Sun Jiaoyang, it was not convenient for him to make a big deal out of it. The last time, the yellow uniform group had already gone overboard and caused too much of an impact in the city. Therefore, this time, Sun Jiaoyang needed to kill them in one shot. He did not send too many people, only 20 gunmen. These 20 gunmen each had a 54 black star that was bought at a high price in the black market. Tonight was the 15th day of the first lunar month. Every household would set off firecrackers. The sound of firecrackers could cover up the gunshots. Shakanov led the 20 gunmen and sneaked to the back door of the earthen building. The back door was only 2 meters high. This was the only way to sneak into the earthen building. Shakanov waved his hand at the 2-meter-tall iron gate. Two gunmen immediately came under the door and stretched out their hands. As for the other two gunmen, they stepped on their arms and pushed them to the top of the door. Chapter 465. These gunmen were well trained. Two of them were lifted up and easily crossed the 2-meter distance to land on the other side of the door. Shakhanov nodded and ordered the two gunmen behind him to jump over to the other side. After sending the 6 gunmen over, Shakhanov suddenly felt that something was wrong. Too quiet. It was indeed too quiet. Those who went over, reply quickly. Shakhanov winked at the man who spoke Russian. The man was smart enough to understand and immediately asked through the walkie-talkie. But no one answered. The man asked again, but there was still silence. Shakhanov felt that something was wrong. He immediately pointed at the door. The gunman immediately retreated a distance away. Shakhanov aimed at the door and pulled the trigger, firing a few shots. Dang, dang, dang. The door lock was broken, and Shakhanov kicked the door open. The moment the door was opened, it was as if a woman had opened her legs. Shakhanov had decided to raise this place to the ground and collect his employer's bounty, but the 6 gunmen seemed to have evaporated into thin air, disappearing without a trace. But there was a man standing there, holding 2 huge Gatling guns in his hands. What the hell? Shakhanov nearly peed his pants. Is this a fucking joke? The man in front of him was none other than the Devil's incarnate. He smiled at Shakhanov. Shakhanov hurriedly shouted, "Don't worry. Run." Although it was Russian, the other gunmen understood what he was saying. The gunmen were so scared that they turned around and wanted to run. But suddenly, more than 10 men holding camouflage stun batons appeared behind them. They acted instantly and cleanly. The stun batons hit the gunmen. Everything had happened too quickly. The gunmen did not even have time to react. All of them were electrocuted and fell to the ground, twitching and foaming at the mouth. In an instant, they had lost the ability to fight. Only Shakhanov was still standing there. A security guard hit him with the stun baton, but with his strong body, he was able to stand there. He roared and kicked the security guard in front of him to the ground. His body was too strong. Shakhanov raised his gun and fired at the 3 security guards. Bang, bang, bang. The 3 security guards were immediately sent flying. Fortunately, the security guards were wearing bulletproof vests. Otherwise, they would have died there. Even so, the ribs of these 3 people were broken. They lay on the ground, unable to get up for a long time. But at this moment, a chain wrapped around Shakhanov's neck and dragged his burly body to the ground. Bang! Shakhanov's body smashed into the ground, creating a cloud of dust. The Devil's incarnation's hands tightly gripped the chains, entangling Shakhanov so that he couldn't break free. But Shakhanov's body was too strong. He sat up from the ground bit by bit and was about to lift the Devil's incarnation's body into the air. Lu Chong and Lu Zhuang dashed over with military bayonets in their hands. They stabbed Shakhanov's shoulder several times in a row. Shakhanov roared again and again, but he did not fall. Damn you! You've become a little King Kong. The Devil's incarnation was enraged. If not for Li Fan's order not to kill these people, but to knock them out and throw them at the entrance of the Yellow Uniform Regiment's base camp, he would have stabbed Shakhanov's heart long ago. Get out of here! Shakhanov roared in Russian. Then, he grabbed Lu Chong and Lu Zhuang's bodies with both hands and threw them away as if they were little chicks. Bang, bang. Their bodies landed a distance away, and it was not a light fall. Shakhanov grabbed the Devil's incarnation's shoulder and pulled him over. He threw him in front of him and stepped on his foot. At the same time, he pulled out his backup pistol and aimed it at the Devil's incarnation's head. Lu Chong and Lu Zhuang threw out the military bayonets in their hands. One of the bayonets knocked Shakhanov's pistol away, and the other stabbed into his hand. Shakhanov pulled out the stiletto by force and threw it backhanded. Lu Chong instinctively raised his arm to block his face. The bayonet pierced through Lu Chong's arm and forced him to take 2 steps back. This idiot is too stubborn. The Devil's incarnation yelled, "This won't do. Let's go all out." Before he could finish his sentence, Shakhanov had already lifted him up, and his hands were on the Devil's incarnation's neck. The Devil's incarnation immediately felt suffocated, and his eyes rolled back. At this moment, Huang Lei appeared out of nowhere. He held the baseball bat in his hand and swung it at Shakanov's head. The baseball bat was dented, and there was a wound on Shakanov's head that was bleeding profusely. But he roared and kicked Huang Lei to the ground. The devil's incarnation was also thrown to the side, and he fell heavily. What the fuck? Is this guy cheating? Huang Lei spat out a mouthful of bile. It was painful. Fuck. This daddy is going to cheat too. The devil's incarnation took out a chainsaw out of nowhere, held it in his hand, and turned the motor. The chainsaw immediately started to operate, and the sawtooth quickly rotated, cutting everything in its path into pieces. No. Lu Cheng immediately said, "Boss ordered, don't kill him. Fuck his father. He's already in this state, and he still doesn't let me kill him." The devil's incarnation was about to go crazy, but Shakanov picked up a stick and walked toward him. But at this moment, a beautiful figure suddenly fell into the courtyard. She jumped up, her body was almost suspended in the air, and then she kicked Shakanov's head 3 times in a row. Bang, bang, bang. This Shakanov directly fainted from the kick. His huge body fell to the ground, unable to stand up for a long time. In Xiaoru stepped on Shakanov's head and looked at the 4 stunned men. "What are you guys doing?" In Xiaoru curiously looked at them, not knowing what they were doing. "Fuck me. Who is this girl?" The devil's incarnation had never seen In Xiaoru before. This was the first time. "Fuck, little ancestor, you're finally here." Huang Lei directly knelt down in front of In Xiaoru. "If you came a little later, we'd be dead for sure." "Who is this blockhead?" In Xiaoru looked at the Russian mercenary under her feet, still somewhat puzzled. "I'll explain to you later." Ling Tian held his pistol and walked out, ordering everyone to clean up the battlefield. "It seems like we won this battle. Why did they start fighting?" "Where's Li Fan?" In Xiaoru asked. "The boss? He just left a message saying that he went to Wudong Mountain." Chapter 466. He went to Wudong Mountain? In Xiaoru rolled her eyes. "It's such a fun thing. Yet he didn't call me along." In Xiaoru seemed rather displeased. "No, I have to chase after him," In Xiaoru said and used her qinggong to move around like the wind, instantly disappearing in front of the devil incarnate and the rest. This woman, Huang Lei and the rest wiped their sweat and wondered if Big Brother would have a headache. At this moment, Li Fan had already flown to the foot of Wudong Mountain. Because the mountain was guarded by the disciples of the devil sect, he landed on the top of the mountain without being too conspicuous. "It doesn't look any different." Li Fan looked at the towering Wudong Mountain and couldn't help but mutter. The 15th day of the first lunar month had already passed, and the sky was beginning to turn bright. The two of them did not sleep for almost the entire night, but because they were both martial artists, they were still very energetic. How could Li Fan fall asleep when his fiancée was locked up in such a place? The Wudong Hall is now like a prison. Yushi placed her hand on her black sword and stared at the halls on the mountain. Fortunately, Li Wei is not here. Li Wei? The leader of solipsism? Yes, he's a ruthless one. Yushi continued. Besides, according to our spies in Wudong Mountain, Song Fuya from the Medicine King Valley is here too. I know about the Medicine King Valley, and I've dealt with an elder of the Yin clan before. However, who is Song Fuya? She's the former leader of the Yin clan. Yushi's grasp of the information of the martial artists was almost as good as a database. She used an invisible and colorless poison, which seems to be a modified cultivation dissipation powder. Li Fan had once been poisoned by the cultivation dissipation powder, and that thing was indeed terrible. It was no wonder that Morong Ying was locked up. After absorbing that thing, she couldn't even raise her skills. How could she play? "This is for you." Yushi handed a black glass ball to Li Fan. "What? Do you want to play marbles with me at such a serious time?" Yushi rolled one of her eyes and said, "This is a poison-repelling bead, extracted from a 10,000-year-old snow toad." She stuffed the poison-repellent bead into Li Fan's hand. "Put it on your tongue. It will protect you from all poisons." "What about you?" Li Fan couldn't help worrying about Yushi. "I have been trained since I was young. Poison has no effect on me." Yushi's words seemed calm, but Li Fan felt that there was endless bitterness in them. However, since Yushi didn't want to talk about it, it wasn't appropriate for him to ask. Okay, how do we go up the mountain? Li Fan stood at the foot of the mountain and looked at Wudong Mountain. There were already many disciples of the devil sect guarding it. Before he found his fiancée, everything was still unknown. There are two ways. One is to attack by force, and the other is to outsmart him. Yushi pointed at Mount Wudong and said, if we attack them head-on, we will have to face them head-on. To outsmart them is to sneak up the mountain. Sneak in? Well, we can pretend to be tourists to offer incense and enter Mount Wudong to investigate the whereabouts of Murong Ying and the others. Both of these methods are good. Li Fan nodded. Come on. All of them? Yushi was stunned. Why would all of them come? These two methods contradict each other. Well, I attack by force and you outsmart him. Li Fan stood at the foot of the mountain, facing Mount Wudong, and said with a smile, when I attack by force, help me investigate where my troublesome fiancé is locked up. Attacking by force is too dangerous. Not to mention you are alone. I am not alone. Li Fan took out the poison repellent bead and said, aren't you always by my side? Then, take care. Yushi did not hesitate. Since Li Fan had decided on a plan, she immediately turned and walked into the snow. The snow was very heavy and seemed to be getting heavier. Li Fan stretched and then slowly walked towards the entrance of Mount Wudong. After the 15th of the first month, because it was snowing, there were not many tourists. Mount Wudong was also very quiet. At the foot of the mountain stood two men who were obviously not Wudong disciples. Wudong disciples were all wearing dark blue Taoist robes, but these two disciples were wearing black and red robes with a black sun imprinted on their chest. Solipsism. Solipsism. When Li Fan walked up, the two disciples thought that he was a tourist and did not pay too much attention to him. However, Li Fan stood in front of the mountain gate, summoned his true energy, and roared. Solipsism. Young Master Li Fan, release the young master's woman. Otherwise, I will wash Mount Wudong with blood. The roar was like thunder, shaking the Wudang mountain. The two devil cult disciples were startled. Their eyes fell on Li Fan at the same time. You are Li Fan? Yes, I am your young master. Li Fan laughed. If you know what's good for you, scram to the side. Otherwise, I will not be polite. With just you? You want to challenge my devil sect? Idiot. The two devil disciples immediately rushed over. They were holding two long sabers as if they wanted to chop Li Fan into pieces. Although they were only guarding disciples, their martial arts were indeed good and their saber techniques were also very sharp. As the saying goes, a quick saber cuts a tangled hemp, but Li Fan just smiled. He stretched out his hands and flicked the sabers away. At the same time, his right leg kicked out twice, hitting the acupoints of the two people and knocking them unconscious. Solipsism is only a sos. Li Fan passed through the entrance and continued up the mountain. The mountain road was rugged. As the road to the sect, there was only a small path that led to the top of the mountain. The other side was a wide road, but it led to the Wudong sect's tourist area. That was the route that belonged to Yushi. He did not go there. From the mountain, a lot of solipsism disciples came down. Each of them had an overbearing aura as they intercepted Li Fan on the rugged mountain road. A few devil disciples roared and pounced towards Li Fan. Li Fan did not show any mercy. With a few punches and kicks, he knocked 4 devil disciples to the ground. The last Bear King seal landed on the chest of the last evil sect disciple who was charging over. Boom! That devil disciple was immediately sent flying and smashed a few pine trees on the side of the road before fainting there. As for those devil disciples on the ground, Li Fan stomped on their hands and feet, crippling their martial arts. Li Fan's methods caused the remaining devil disciples to be afraid. They stood there. No one dared to take a step forward. As Li Fan walked forward, they watched as Li Fan continuously retreated. Not long later, Li Fan arrived in front of the Wudong main hall. Many devil disciples rushed out. A total of 40 to 50 people blocked in front of Li Fan. Everyone looked at Li Fan vigilantly as if they were facing a great enemy. But no one dared to step forward. They could only maintain a certain distance from Li Fan. A bunch of trash. At this time, 3 people walked out. The one who spoke was a woman in a cloak. Chapter 467. What a bunch of trash. Song Fuya crossed her arms and sneered coldly. What's the use of the leader keeping you? After all, she was Elderswa. With her ridicule, those devil cult disciples didn't dare to hesitate anymore. They mustered up their courage and rushed toward Li Fan. Some appetizers? Li Fan didn't care. His moves were very clean and neat, constantly defeating the enemies in front of him. More than 40 devil cult disciples launched an attack, but Li Fan only used his 7-hero fist. One move for each of them. In less than 5 minutes, they were all down. Indeed, a bunch of trash. Li Fan laughed. They didn't even warm up. Little Overlord Li Fan, do you really think you can win? Song Fuya crossed her arms and stood in front of Li Fan. In the count of 10, you won't be able to use internal force anymore. That sounds really scary. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Leave it to me. White Impermanence licked his fingers. Let me tear this person's neck. I want to taste his blood. You devil cult really have a heavy taste. Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. The heavier taste is yet to come. White Impermanence stretched out his hands. Wait for me to pull out your intestines and let you have a good look. With that, White Impermanence jumped and easily crossed the distance of more than 10 meters. He appeared on top of Li Fan's head and grabbed toward Li Fan's throat with his soul-snatching claw. Li Fan stretched out his hands and directly grabbed White Impermanence's wrist. At the same time, his knee heavily hit White Impermanence's lower abdomen. White Impermanence spat out a mouthful of blood. But he was a qualified martial artist and the devil cult's right protector, so he endured it. But Li Fan twisted his waist and swung his hands, directly throwing White Impermanence away. White Impermanence's body flipped in the air and landed firmly on the ground. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at Li Fan in surprise. What a waste. Song Fuya and the protectors wanted to ridicule together. White Impermanence immediately cried out, "Fuck, this kid is a little weird." 10 seconds have passed. He's at your mercy now. Song Fuya calculated the time. I rather enjoy the feeling of being slaughtered. White Impermanence looked at Li Fan as if she was looking at a dead man. Bring it on. Li Fan hooked his finger at White Impermanence. Die. Bai Wuchang rushed forward again. This time, his technique was even more incisive. The soul-seizing claw drew an afterimage in the air. But Li Fan just stretched out his crane hand and immediately bounced off White Impermanence's claw. At the same time, Li Fan directly kicked high, bringing out a bolt of lightning right at White Impermanence's face. Rushing thunder feet. Li Fan's kick directly knocked out one of Bai Wuchang's front teeth. Bai Wuchang's body flipped in the air and finally fell heavily to the ground. The Black Impermanence stepped forward and pulled his comrade up. Damn it. Where's the promised 10 seconds? He should have prepared some poison-repellent medicine. Song Fuya ridiculed. Trash. With your skills, you still have the face to call yourself the right protector of solipsism? She was very dissatisfied, but the left protector's authority was indeed higher than the right protector. White Impermanence could only clench her teeth and endure. Indeed, it's time for your right protector to be replaced. Li Fan nodded his head, admitting that Song Fuya's words were somewhat reasonable. Black and White Impermanence have always acted together. Song Fuya told Li Fan. When the two of them are together, they are no longer trash. While speaking, White Impermanence had already stood up. The two of them looked at each other before pulling out a ghost-beating stick from their back at the same time and held it in their hands. The two of them jumped on the spot. Like zombies, they instantly jumped in front of Li Fan and waved their ghost-beating sticks at Li Fan. Li Fan extended his hand to block their ghost-beating sticks, but in an instant, the two of them suddenly disappeared. Li Fan's back and waist suffered a blow at the same time, causing his internal organs to tremble. However, Li Fan's internal energy was powerful and was able to stabilize his dantian very quickly. The two of them once again disappeared from Li Fan's line of sight, as if they really were ghosts. Solipsism's right protector, Black and White Impermanence. When the two of them combine their strength, the impermanent soul-locking formation is unparalleled in the world. Song Fuya still had her arms crossed as she looked at Li Fan. Her gaze carried a cold smile. Coming here without any preparations is truly foolish. The soul-locking formation of the black and white impermanence was indeed powerful. It came and went without a trace, causing Li Fan to have a headache. Unknowingly, Li Fan had already been hit tens of times. If not for his chi protecting his body, who knows how many bones in his body would have been broken. Stop playing around. Quickly kill him, Song Fuya urged. As for the black and white impermanents, they kept leaving after images as they started to hit Li Fan's vitals with their ghost-beating sticks. But at this moment, Li Fan extended his hands and released Dragon Toad's absorption of water. The black and white impermanents did not even have the chance to react. Their bodies were grabbed by Li Fan, and they staggered forward. Li Fan's hands were already on top of their heads. Are you tired of playing? Li Fan's cold voice caused the black and white impermanents to be deeply shocked. Bang! Bang! The two of them burst out with chi at the same time and shook off Li Fan's hands before returning to Song Fuya's side. This person's strength is unfathomable. The white impermanents let out a strange voice, causing people to tremble in fear. Looks like the two of us have to show some of our true abilities. With that, the black impermanence suddenly jumped onto the white impermanence's back. His entire body was very strange, as if a piece of paper was stuck to the white impermanence's back. This white impermanence rose and fell, and quickly floated towards Li Fan. Li Fan did not know what kind of martial arts this fellow was using. He only felt that it was very strange. After all, they were the black and white impermanents. Could it be that they were still wandering in the netherworld? The black and white impermanents had already arrived in front of Li Fan in a few leaps. The white impermanence immediately used Soul Snatching Claw and grabbed towards Li Fan's neck. And just as Li Fan used Crane Hand to block it, the black impermanence's ghost-beating stick in both hands smashed towards Li Fan's head. Different bodies with one heart? Li Fan understood that the most powerful state of these two people was the combination of the two. A person with two hands would definitely be more powerful than a person with one hand. And a person with four hands would definitely be more powerful. The two ghost-beating sticks went straight for the top of Li Fan's head. If it was a solid hit, even if Li Fan had divine body protection, his head would probably be smashed like a watermelon. But Li Fan was also not a good person. He suddenly shouted, "Huh!" Fierce tiger roar. The sound formed an impact and instantly hit the black and white impermanents, causing the two of them to slide back a meter. And Li Fan suddenly took a step forward and directly stabbed into the white impermanence's shoulder. Dragon Shattering Hand. Li Fan's hand instantly pierced through the white impermanence's shoulder and even stabbed into the black impermanence's shoulder. Chapter 468. Li Fan's hand grabbed onto Black Impermanence's shoulder blade and pulled back. Gotcha! The Black Impermanence's shoulder blade pierced through his brother's shoulder and was pulled out by Li Fan. With fresh blood, he was casually thrown to the ground by Li Fan. With just one move, Li Fan had almost destroyed the martial arts of two impermanences. This was the Seven Heroes' Fist. Li Fan always strived to defeat his enemy in one move in the shortest amount of time. When Song Fuya saw this scene, she could not help but be shocked. This is the Seven Heroes' Fist? Song Fuya frowned and asked. That's right. Li Fan nodded. Miss, are you not going to personally exchange a few moves with me? Li Fan beckoned to Song Fuya with his finger. I am the left protector of solipsism, Song Fuya. Song Fuya told him her name. I'm not good at martial arts. Since the right protector has been defeated, there is probably no one on Wudong Mountain who can stop you, she said confidently. But if you were to save Murong Ing and leave today, I am afraid the sect leader of solipsism will not let you off. Little Overlord Li Fan, do you have the guts to become enemies with the sect leader? What you said is quite funny. Li Fan was amused. Young master even dares to marry the Martial Alliance master. Are you afraid of offending the sect leader of an evil cult? The grudge between me and your evil cult is not just this little. Li Fan said, I will definitely take revenge for stealing my 9 Buddha Sutra and the Sword of 4 Beasts. Since I lost face, I will naturally take it back myself. Just a mere Martial Alliance master. Solipsism does not place him in my eyes. Song Fuya said loudly. In the world of pugilistic world, only I am supreme. In the world of pugilistic world, only I am supreme. Countless voices reverberated around. Li Fan looked up and saw that on the surrounding main halls, there were suddenly densely packed evil faction disciples. There were at least 200 to 300 of them. Moreover, these devil cult disciples emitted an unusual feeling, giving Li Fan a sense of threat. He was also surprised that the devil cult had hidden so many disciples in this place. They think too highly of Wudong. This is the true power of solipsism, Song Fuya said proudly. How can you fight against hundreds of my disciples alone? What if I'm included? At this moment, a familiar man walked over with a black box on his back. He was dressed in ordinary casual clothes, but he had a temperament that no one dared to underestimate. Behind him were more than 200 experts dressed in blue robes. Each of them had a sword imprinted on their back. Li Fan was familiar with the man leading the group. He had fought with him not long ago. There were 4 major alliances in the pugilistic world, and this man was a cadre of Whistling West Wind, who was also the eldest disciple of Yin Wuchao, Su Zhenrong. Brotherly, I'm late. Su Zhenrong cupped his hands at Li Fan and then looked up at Song Fuya. Left Protector, since everyone has brought their men here, why don't we have a fight and have some fun? Whistling West Wind, how dare you ruin solipsism? Song Fuya's voice sounded a little angry. The 4 major alliances have always been enemies with the devil cult. Su Zhenrong smiled. Could it be that we have become good friends without me knowing? You foolish people, Song Fuya cursed. How dare you stop the sect master? You will all be destroyed. It's definitely a cult déjà vu. Li Fan couldn't help but want to complain. Song Fuya seems to have been brainwashed. How powerful is Li Wei to make Song Fuya so loyal to him? Li Fan couldn't help but imagine what Li Wei looked like. Left Protector, you're a smart person. Do you still want to be enemies with us in this situation? Su Zhenrong continued to ask. Whistling West Wind is really generous. You must have sent all the experts. Not at all. The devil cult is an honorable guest. We should entertain them well. In front of me, these 200 men of yours are nothing more than trash. Since I know that you're here, wouldn't I be prepared? Su Zhenrong said with a smile. Before going up the mountain, I've already made everyone take the heart-cleansing pill. Within 4 hours, they will be immune to all poisons. If you don't believe me, feel free to try it. The 2 of them spoke one after another, and Song Fuya finally humphed. Little Overlord Li Fan, riding your horse and whistling in the west wind. We, the devil cult, will remember this. Retreat. Yes. All the disciples of the devil cult immediately evacuated from the Wudong Mountain. 2 disciples of the devil cult also came over and carried their right protector away. But of these 2 black and white impermanents, at least the black impermanence has already lost an arm. Looking at these devil cult disciples leaving like the tide, Su Zhenrong also let out a sigh of relief. She's finally gone. Scared her away? Li Fan raised his eyebrows and roughly understood what Su Zhenrong meant. It seems that Big Brother Su doesn't have the so-called heart-cleansing pill, right? Su Zhenrong smiled. Not only do I not have the heart-cleansing pill, but more than half of these 200 people are extras I hired from the town. I left in a hurry. How could I bring so many people? Li Fan suddenly felt that this Su Zhenrong was not easy to deal with. If he became enemies with this guy, he didn't know when he would be schemed against. Since the people of the devil cult have retreated, brotherly, quickly go and pick up your fiancé. Su Zhenrong reminded Li Fan. I also want to pay a visit to the Alliance Master. Okay. No matter what, Su Zhenrong helped him this time. Besides, Su Zhenrong had helped him a little. Brotherly, you may not know, but the people on the roof just now are the corpse disciples of the devil cult. Corpse disciples. What the hell is that? Li Fan felt like he was illiterate. That's a special weapon of the devil cult. Su Zhenrong got goosebumps at the mention of it. They let some fanatical believers in the cult smear corpse oil on their bodies and use some kind of demonic attack to train their bodies to have bronze skin and iron bones. Su Zhenrong continued. With these bronze skin and iron bones, they can be invulnerable and impervious to fire and water. Li Wei likes to call his terrifying corpse disciples the undead army that fights for him in the Holy War. Li Wei is really ruthless. Li Fan was a little fearful. The leader of the devil cult was using advanced technology. If he had really fought with 200 of them just now, it might have been difficult to determine the winner. After all, they were a group of people with bronze skin and iron bones. His hands would hurt if he fought with them. Li Fan was walking inside when he suddenly saw a figure floating past. He subconsciously turned around. Beside him were the extras hired by Su Junrong, as well as some real disciples of Whistling West Wind who were rescuing the disciples of the Wudong sect. Did I see wrongly? Chapter 469. Li Fan felt that he seemed to have seen Xiaoru just now. However, this flying cat should not be in Wudong at this time. It was probably having fun somewhere else. Li Fan followed Su Junrong. The two of them circled around the Wudong sect. They were a little confused. No one could find Murong Ying and Master Yu Su of Shaolin Temple. It seems that the two of them are locked in a secret room, Su Junrong muttered. Su Junrong muttered, "This is not good. The other Wudong disciples don't know where the two of them are. Leave it to me." As Li Fan spoke, he turned his head and saw that Yushi was standing behind him without him noticing. Seeing him, Su Junrong gasped. "Oh my god, isn't this the black guard Heartless Saber of the Genie Guard? Why is she here? And she seems to know Li Fan. Have you found it?" Li Fan asked. "Found it." Yushi gave Li Fan a satisfactory answer. "In a secret room in the true martial hall." "Yes, I'll have to trouble Heartless Saber to bring us there." Li Fan was very polite in front of outsiders. He did not want others to know about his relationship with Yushi, so as not to bring unnecessary trouble to Yushi. "Not at all. Please." Yushi also showed a very polite look. She pointed in the direction of the true martial hall. Su Junrong also greeted Yushi politely. After all, the Genie Guard was the official's family. Except for the weirdos like Li Fan and Murong Ying, who were not very respectful, the rest of the sects and organizations had to be respectful to the Genie Guard. Especially the Black Guard of the Genie Guard. This was the absolute authority. It was said that they had the power to kill the martial artists, and they could kill first and report later. If they could get the support of the Genie Guard, then Whistling West Wind was likely to become the most powerful of the four alliances. This was what Whistling West Wind had always wanted to do, to become the real #1 alliance. There were actually 4 alliances in the pugilistic world. That was simply too many. Su Junrong tried his best to please Yushi, but Yushi basically ignored him and only talked to Li Fan. However, Su Junrong wasn't angry. After all, he felt that a person as high and mighty as Yushi should act like this. Right here, there's a secret passage. Yushi led Li Fan and Su Junrong into a secret passage behind the true martial palace. Li Fan was curious. "How did you find this secret passage?" "There's a strange wind." Yushi gave a very simple explanation. Li Fan said, "Is this woman a hunting dog?" Fortunately, she wasn't his enemy. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. This woman did have some skills in tracking. Otherwise, how could she have snuck into a service center to find him? "It's so deep here." Su Junrong walked down the long corridor and looked at the surroundings. He felt a chill run down his spine. He didn't expect that there would be such a place in a righteous sect like Wudong. Yushi's heartless blade is unstoppable. At this moment, she finally displayed her strength. Behind the gray man is a stone door. Yushi once again cut it into 4 pieces with the black blade, and it fell to the other side of the door. On the other side of the door is a metal cage. Inside is a beautiful woman and an old monk. "You came too late." Murong Ying crossed her arms and leaned against the wall. She stood there and looked at Li Fan with dissatisfaction. "I haven't bathed for a few days. It's so uncomfortable. If I force you, I will throw you in there for a few more days." Li Fan rolled his eyes. "I am your benefactor now. Can't you be more polite? You are my husband. You should have saved me." Murong Ying's tone is still domineering. "Quickly help me open the cage." Chapter 470. Li Fan walks to the front of the cage and looks at Mo Rongying, who is sitting in the cage. He squats down with a smile and says to her, "Quick, call me hubby." "You, say hubby, I beg you. Quickly open the door for me." Dream on. With Mo Rongying's temper, how can she allow Li Fan to tease her like this? At that moment, she is unbearably angry. "If not for the fact that I can't circulate my chi, I will definitely tear your stinky mouth apart. Ayaya, if you can circulate your chi, do you still need me to save you?" Li Fan resumes his old job and starts to tease his alliance leader's fiancée. "My alliance leader's wife, why has your logical thinking ability become bad after being locked up for a few days? You are courting death." Mo Rongying is unbearably angry, but she can't do anything to Li Fan. "Look, you are angry again." Li Fan squats there and says with a smile, "Fortunately, we are husband and wife. If we fight at the head of the bed, we will reconcile at the end." "Who wants to reconcile with you?" Mo Rongying glares at Li Fan fiercely, but looking at Li Fan's appearance, he doesn't seem to mind. Instead, he is still smiling, making Mo Rongying want to grind her teeth. "Are you letting me out or not? Call me hubby." Li Fan stands up, crosses his arms, and looks at Mo Rongying. "You two, let this alliance leader out." Mo Rongying has no choice but to surrender her gaze to the two people at the side. But if Li Fan doesn't say anything, she will not move. Su Zhenrong was very embarrassed. He felt that he was unnecessary at this moment. To save or not to save, this is the problem. If he saves, he will offend Li Fan. If he doesn't save, he will offend alliance leader Mo Rong. Damn it, I shouldn't have rushed over at that time. Not only would he fail to claim credit, he would also die. No matter who he offended, the two of them were a couple. In the end, it was just like what Li Fan had said. They would fight at the head of the bed and make up at the end. In the end, he was in a terrible situation. "Wife, why do you have to make things difficult for them?" Li Fan laughed and said, "Why do we have to involve others in our matters? Look, you're making things so difficult for them." Mo Rongying wanted to kill someone, but the one who made things difficult for them was you, bastard. But looking at Li Fan's innocent look, he would never admit it. When this guy was thick-skinned, even a cannonball couldn't penetrate his skin. "If you don't call me husband, I won't let you out," Li Fan said again, but Mo Rongying ignored him. "It seems our alliance master likes this place very much. Let's head back then." Li Fan waved his hand and prepared to leave with his men. Mo Rongying was anxious. She hurriedly took a step forward and subconsciously shouted, "Don't go." "Who said don't go?" Li Fan looked back at him. "Husband, don't go." Mo Rongying's voice was like a mosquito buzzing. Li Fan immediately turned around and asked, "What did you say? I didn't hear you clearly." "Don't push your luck." Mo Rongying glared at him with her almond-shaped eyes. Only then did Li Fan put away his mischievous smile. Good, good, good. Our alliance master has been trapped for so long. This is outrageous." With that, Li Fan walked to the front of the iron cage and stretched out his hands to grab the two bars. He exerted force and forcibly bent the two railings. Ba! I finally see the light of day again. Master Yusu was also released. This old monk was quite emotional. This dungeon is really quiet. However, it's inconvenient for men and women to cultivate. Thank you for your hard work, Master Yusu. Su Zhenrong hurriedly put his palms together and bowed to this Shaolin abbot. Since you've taken advantage of me, now it's time to do me a favor. Mo Rongying pulled Li Fan's collar. Otherwise, I won't forgive you. We're already an old married couple. Why are you still so shy? Li Fan pulled away Mo Rongying's hand and helped her pat off the dust on her clothes. Look at you. You've been locked up for a few days, and you're already haggard. Looking at the deep concern in Li Fan's eyes, Mo Rongying actually couldn't get angry. This guy is quite concerned about me. Those damn devil cult, they've really gone too far this time. Su Zhenrong said angrily. This time they're actually so bold. Not only did they forcibly occupy Wudong Mountain, they even locked up Alliance Master Mo Rong and Master Yusu. He cupped his hands toward Mo Rongying. Alliance Master Mo Rong. This time we can't indulge them anymore. We must launch an all-out attack on the devil cult. We will ride our horses to the west wind and follow Alliance Master's lead. Su Zhenrong hurriedly expressed his loyalty. Behind all of this should be their alliance master's authorization. I will arrange this matter. You don't need to remind me. Mo Ronging didn't care about Su Zhenrong. She took a deep breath and then instructed Li Fan. I've been poisoned by a very special cultivation dissipating powder. Only Song Fuya has the antidote. Li Fan, are you willing to make a trip for me? Song Fuya's character is strange. If I want to directly snatch it from her, even if she dies, she won't hand it over. When Li Fan thought of that woman, he felt a little panicky. If she dies in exchange for a martial arts alliance master with crippled martial arts, she will definitely feel that it's worth it. You've got a plan? After living under the same roof for so long, Mo Ronging already understood Li Fan very well. When she heard Li Fan say this, she knew that he already had his own idea. Well, we can't snatch it, but we can steal it. As Li Fan spoke, he turned his head and glanced at her. It's time for you to come down. Everyone was a little surprised. Who was Li Fan talking about? As soon as his voice fell, a figure landed from behind the stone statue. She was wearing convenient night clothes and had a slim figure. When she landed, she let out a string of silver bell-like laughter. Little junior sister? When Su Zhenrong saw Flying Cat, a smile appeared on his face. You're here? Are you here to look for me? TSK, I'm not looking for you. Yin Xiaoru rolled her eyes at Su Zhenrong, as if she didn't care about this eldest senior brother at all. Little junior sister, long time no see. Don't you miss senior brother? Su Zhenrong hurriedly asked. Why would I miss you? You're not my biological brother. Yin Xiaoru said as she walked to Li Fan's side and enthusiastically held his arm. Sticking to his side, she said, Little sweetheart, how did you find me? Li Fan's forehead was covered in cold sweat. This girl was teasing him again. Sure enough, Mo Ronging frowned and snorted. Li Fan, I'm suffering here, but you're enjoying yourself. You're fooling around outside, aren't you? What are you talking about? The two of us are purely colleagues. Li Fan hurriedly pushed Yin Xiaoru away and then glared at her. You're causing trouble for me the moment you come. With your movement technique, you're still a few years away from being able to hide from me. I didn't hide it carefully. Otherwise, none of you would be able to find me. Yin Xiaoru was very unwilling. Su Zhenrong wiped his cold sweat at the side, thinking in his heart, what the hell is going on? Chapter 471. Are you Yin Xiaoru? Mo Ronging pulled Li Fan to the side. She was more than 7 meters tall, a head taller than Yin Xiaoru, so she looked down at Yin Xiaoru. You're the daughter of Golden Eagle Castle. Why are you dressed like a thief? Hey, although you're the chief of Wulin, it's not up to you to tell me what to wear, right? Yin Xiaoru rolled her eyes. I can wear whatever I want. What a willful girl. Didn't Yin Wuchao discipline you? You're so annoying. Yin Xiaoru pouted and rolled her eyes at Mo Ronging. You're just the chief of Wulin. Why do you like to meddle in other people's business? I don't care. I just think you're annoying. The two women began to bicker. Li Fan hurriedly advised, You two, stop arguing. My wife, we still have to ask her for help with this matter. Her? How can a willful girl be of any help? Mo Ronging crossed her arms and said arrogantly. Li Fan was very helpless. Damn it, you're willful enough. Her lightness skill is good. I need her to help you steal the antidote. Li Fan said, Song Fuya is a very special woman. She has poison to protect her body. Ordinary people can't get close to her. Besides me and Yushi, only the person with the poison prevention bead can get close to her. As he spoke, he took out a small black bead, which surprised Su Zhenrong. Poison prevention bead? Young Hero Li, why do you have this? Ba. Master Yu Su also put his hands together and sighed. The last time I saw it, I was still a child. You don't need to care about its origin. It's borrowed anyway. Li Fan said and handed the bead to Yin Xiaoru. Take it. You'll need it later. Yin Xiaoru's eyes lit up. She dodged the bead and asked, How do I use it? Just put it under your tongue. Li Fan reminded Yin Xiaoru. I borrowed this thing. You must return it to me. I know. You are really stingy. In Xiaoru angrily rolled her eyes at Li Fan and unwillingly stuffed the bead into her pocket. What are you going to do if you give her the poison prevention pearl? Yushi, who had been silent all this time, finally couldn't help but speak up. She was worried about Li Fan's safety. It's fine. Actually, I don't care about this bit of poisonous gas. Li Fan's control of true qi was unique, so he did not care about Song Fuya's poisonous fog. Even if she knows how to steal, how can she steal, and where can she steal? Mu Rongying asked. Leave it to me. Li Fan already had an idea. I want Song Fuya to take out the antidote herself. How is that possible? Don't tell me you know hypnosis? Of course not, but I have my own brilliant plan, Li Fan said, straightening his clothes. Heartless Saber, please help me find the whereabouts of Song Fuya and the others. And Yushi nodded. They should not have gone far. The black and white impermanents are seriously injured. I think they should stay in a nearby town for a night. Wait for me on the mountain. I will be back soon. Yushi said. Her feet bounced. Her whole body stepped on the mountain wind, like a black shadow, disappeared in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. I didn't expect this heartless Saber's Qinggong to be so beautiful. After saying that, Mu Rongying glanced at Li Fan. I remember that she was still chasing you before. How come it seems that after I was locked up for a few days, your relationship with many women inexplicably improved a lot? Ahem. What are you talking about? Li Fan patted his chest. This can only mean that my charm is great. Charming your sister. I hope it can be solved smoothly. In any case, not having martial arts was a bit uncomfortable for Mu Rongying. All she could do now was to wait. And just as Yushi expected, at this moment, Song Fuya was staying in a 4-star hotel in the town at the foot of Mount Wudong. In this place, a 4-star hotel was already the most high-end hotel. Song Fuya took a shower, dried her hair, and then looked at the old sofa in the bedroom with some dissatisfaction. I really don't want to come to this kind of place a second time. Song Fuya sighed. This time's mission was really very not smooth. Not only did she fail to defend Mount Wudong, even the black and white impermanents were killed. If the sect leader knew about this, how could she have the face to be the left protector? Song Fuya sat there, thinking about how she should apologize. At this moment, a breeze blew through the window. Song Fuya immediately frowned and looked at the window vigilantly. It was winter now. She did not have the habit of opening the window in cold weather. Before Song Fuya could check, the door was knocked. Who is it? Song Fuya questioned. It's your room service, Mississippi, a familiar voice sounded outside the door, and Song Fuya immediately reached out and grabbed a bathrobe from the bathroom. She then wrapped it around her body. Honorable Miss, may I come in? Humph. Song Fuya opened the door, and indeed, Li Fan was standing outside, looking at her with a smile. What a surprise. Song Fuya said sarcastically, I didn't expect the little tyrant to think so highly of me that he chased me all the way here from Mount Wudong. Because I like beautiful women, I naturally have to chase after beautiful women. Looking at Song Fuya, who had revealed her true appearance, Li Wei felt that she was rather good-looking. Li Wei had chosen a beautiful woman to be his left protector. Chasing after me won't do you any good. Song Fuya looked at Li Fan arrogantly. You're much more articulate this time. Did you spit out the poison prevention pearl? You know about the poison prevention pearl? Li Fan pretended to be surprised, but Song Fuya couldn't help but mock him. Do you think I don't know? The poison prevention pearl is the only thing that can perfectly avoid my poison. Song Fuya's face was full of confidence. I've studied poison all my life, and you can't imagine how amazing it is. Do you think you can come in unscathed and take the antidote from me? Song Fuya mocked Li Fan. Arrogant kid. You've already been poisoned by my technique dissipation powder the moment you entered this room. Soon, you'll become my trophy. She seemed to be a little worried. I wonder if the sect master will be satisfied with you. He originally wanted Alliance Master Moro. However, you can't stop the Emperor of Pugilistic World. He's going to rise. I think you're crazy. Li Fan rolled his eyes. You've been brainwashed too much. You're too stupid to understand true holiness and greatness. Song Fuya mocked Li Fan. You don't have an ideal man. Now, you can only kneel before me powerlessly. Chapter 472. Li Fan's face turned pale. He took 2 steps back and fearfully looked at Song Fuya. I'm still young. I don't want to die. Li Fan looked at Song Fuya, who picked up a fruit knife and hurriedly said, I'm willing to join solipsism. You? Where's your loyalty? Song Fuya looked at Li Fan with ridicule. What a joke. You'd better go seek refuge with King Yanluo. How boring. I can't fool you. Li Fan sat down on the short counter and then looked at Song Fuya with a smile. Do you think I'm an idiot? Why would I throw away the poison prevention pearl before seeing you? You probably don't believe me, but I have a godly thief by my side. Her name is Flying Cat. Song Fuya was shocked. She hurriedly turned her head and looked at the row of bottles hanging on the wall, but she immediately frowned. She knew something was wrong. Even if you know the antidote, you won't be able to get it, Song Fuya said as she turned around and threw the fruit knife at Li Fan. But Li Fan only stretched out his hand and grabbed the fruit knife. Do you need me to peel the fruit for you, miss? Impossible. How can you still use your internal force? Song Fuya looked at Li Fan in shock. He had obviously inhaled her poisonous fog, but he was still fine. He obviously didn't use the poison prevention pearl. Song Fuya couldn't figure it out, and only Li Fan himself knew about his ability. He used his true chi to cover his entire body, even his nostrils. If he didn't have a strong internal force, he would have suffocated to death. Song Fuya rubbed her eyes in disbelief, but she quickly reacted. Now was not the time to make a move. She was a strategic weapon. If she met someone who wasn't afraid of her poisonous fog, then her fighting strength would be too low. Song Fuya only had one thought in her mind, and that was to escape. She didn't even have time to wear her clothes. She wanted to take back her antidote and jump out with a towel wrapped around her. However, Li Fan suddenly used the white crane nod and instantly hit Song Fuya's acupuncture point. Song Fuya's body stiffened, and a woman dressed in black appeared out of nowhere. She dodged the bag of elixirs and jumped out of the window. Where do you think you're going? Song Fuya was shocked. She wanted to chase after him, but her blood was still sealed, so she couldn't move. Sorry, I don't want you to leave. Li Fan's voice came from behind Song Fuya. Song Fuya suddenly bit the tip of her tongue, turned her head with difficulty, and spat out a mouthful of blood at Li Fan. Li Fan instinctively felt that something was wrong. He immediately shifted his feet and dodged to the side. With a puff, the blood arrow hit the wall behind him. A corroded black hole was left on the wall. It was a ghastly sight. Li Fan swallowed his saliva and thought to himself, what the fuck is going on? It seemed that this woman not only knew how to play with poison, even the blood in her body was poisonous. This was really fucked up. His vital energy couldn't completely resist this kind of liquid poison. Are you afraid? Song Fuya licked her blood-red lips and looked at Li Fan. She smiled sweetly. Don't worry, my poison comes quickly. I guarantee you won't feel any pain and you'll die peacefully. Then I really have to thank you. Li Fan activated the vital energy in his body. Li Fan, even if I have to use up all my blood, I will take your life. After being deceived by Li Fan, Song Fuya flew into a rage out of humiliation. She relied on the power of her blood to forcefully break through the seal of her blood. She turned around and spat out mouthfuls of blood arrows at Li Fan. Li Fan's feet kept shifting, and his body left a black afterimage. It was as if he was leaving some kind of black particles in the air. Li Fan's movements became lighter and lighter. The movements of the spirit monkey and immortal deer were firmly engraved in his bones and became a physical memory. Although Song Fuya's blood arrows were fast and vicious, it was not difficult for Li Fan to deal with. Song Fuya was getting more and more anxious. Her blood was not unlimited, but her poison had no effect on Li Fan. Damn it, this man. Is he really immune to all poisons? In this world, other than the 4 black guards of the embroidered uniform guards, how could there be someone else with such an ability? Or did he also eat the clear heart pill? Impossible. Song Fuya was not stupid. The clear heart pill definitely did not exist. The reason why she left Mount Wudong was because Li Fan defeated the black and white impermanence in a second and shocked her. A man who had the poison prevention pearl and could defeat the black and white impermanence in a second was definitely not weak. Although she had brought 200 undead soldiers, they were the sect leader's most precious assets. They should be used in better places, such as the Holy War. Song Fuya was very smart and also very cautious. She chose to retreat, not because she was scared away by the sword-leaning smile, but because she was scared away by Li Fan alone. This man was getting more and more out of her expectations. Enough! Li Fan suddenly roared. He took a step forward and slapped himself in the air. Bear King Seal. Song Fuya felt as if her abdomen was hit by a car. She flew out and hit the window behind her, shattering the glass. Her body jumped down from the building. Song Fuya covered her lower abdomen with one hand and grabbed a towel with the other. Her body somersaulted in the air, and then she stepped on the building wall with both legs. Her whole body flew out and landed on a car below. Bang! The roof of the car was dented, but Song Fuya's feet were unharmed. She jumped and landed on a few cars and disappeared into the night in the blink of an eye. She ran quite fast. Li Fan stood on the window of the hotel and looked down. Song Fuya had already used the excuse of falling off the building to escape. I got it. In Xiaoru hung upside down from the window and suddenly appeared in front of Li Fan with a small bag filled with various medicines. How are you going to reward me? In Xiaoru waved the bag and asked. Don't mess around. It's filled with poison. It's not a joke if you spill it. Li Fan hurriedly said. I know. Look at how worried you are. In Xiaoru passed the bag to Li Fan. Keep it well. Don't blame me if something goes wrong. I know. Return the poison prevention bead. Li Fan extended his hand. In Xiaoru reluctantly spat out the poison prevention bead and stuffed it into Li Fan's palm. But why is this bead so salty? Maybe it's because I sucked it before I gave it to you. In Xiaoru's face changed. You actually kissed me indirectly. Chapter 473. You were the one who kissed me indirectly, okay? Li Fan raised his protest very shamelessly, which made In Xiaoru very dissatisfied. You bastard! You're shameless, you're despicable. In Xiaoru was so angry that she wanted to kill someone, but Li Fan laughed. Okay, you're a girl. How can you be so stingy? Hey, it's because you're a girl that you're stingy, okay? Yes, I was wrong. I shouldn't have kissed you indirectly. I'll kiss you directly next time. Bastard, I don't care about you. I'm leaving. In Xiaoru was so angry that she ran away. Like a pendulum, she swung on the window and then quickly left the hotel. Li Fan said that this girl's qigong seemed to be getting better and better. He checked the medicine bag and found that there were all kinds of medicines in it, but he couldn't tell what they were. It was better to take it back to Mount Wudong. There should be people there who knew something about medicine. Li Fan took the medicine bag and returned to Mount Wudong. At this time, Mount Wudong had returned to its former tranquility, but there was something different. Wu Jizi finally had a chance to be buried. He was lying in a coffin in front of the martial hall, looking peaceful as if he had really ascended to heaven. The bell of the martial hall kept ringing, as if to bid farewell to the sect leader. Li Fan saw Louis Shan, the Wu-Tang disciple who didn't like Yin Kai. At this moment, he seemed to have matured a lot, standing in the crowd and organizing the funeral of the sect leader with other disciples. And Master Yu Su sat on the side, silently using a unique Buddhist method to expiate the soul of his old friend. Morong Ying and Yu Shi were looking through the medicine bag. After searching for a day, Yu Shi confirmed the result. There is no antidote here. We were cheated. Li Fan was a little surprised. Cheated? How is that possible? I should have expected it. Morong Ying was a little annoyed. I can't believe that Song Fuya's nonsense. She said, the people of Medicine King Valley and Yin Gate spend their lives studying poisons and have no time to make antidotes. Now that I think about it, she was just lying to us. How can you be sure that there's really no antidote here? Li Fan was still hoping for a fluke. I've done some research on pharmacology, but I really don't have any. Yu Shi's words annoyed Li Fan. He clenched his fists. Song Fuya of the devil cult. How dare she trick me? I will settle this score with her sooner or later. Goddamn devil cult. Su Zhenrong was also standing at the side. When he heard this, his face was filled with righteous indignation. If I catch them, I won't let them off. Alliance leader Morong, since that's the case, I'll take my leave first. This guy probably saw that Moronging had no value to him, so he wanted to get away as soon as possible. Devil cult, that bunch of dogs. Li Fan clenched his teeth. They and I are irreconcilable enemies. The devil sect will always be the devil sect. Their actions will always be like this. Moronging came to a conclusion. It seems that my internal energy might not be able to recover. Ba, you don't have to be so ruthless. Master Yu Su's words suddenly made Su Zhenrong stop. Could it be that Moronging could still be saved? In this world, there is another place that can cure the poison of Yin Min. Master Yu Su is talking about Medicine King Valley? Moronging asked. Exactly. Fuck. Ask them for the antidote? Li Fan was a little infuriated at that time. Those people from Medicine King Valley were all crazy. Anyway, those he met were not good people. People from Medicine King Valley are all unreasonable, unreliable. At this moment, this is the only way. Moronging sighed softly. I only hope that they can give me some face as the leader of Wulin. Li Fan, accompany me. How about it? Okay, I will accompany you. Li Fan was also angry. Their people poisoned my wife. If they don't give an explanation to the young master, I will destroy their Medicine King Valley. Li Fan, this little overlord, was also angry. Since that's the case, Wudong Mountain still has 30 experts who can ride on horseback to the west wind. Su Zhenrong hurriedly came forward to ask, Leader Morong, can you bring them together to ask for the antidote? I am going to ask for the antidote, not to fight. Why do you need to make such a big scene? Moronging did not hesitate and flatly refused. In that case, this Su is willing to accompany Leader Morong. You are not my husband. Why do I need you to accompany me? Moronging did not give him any face. She ignored the embarrassed Su Zhenrong and whistled. The gold and silver swordsman landed from the roof next to them. Li Fan immediately became vigilant. Don't worry, they are my guards. Moronging hurriedly explained. Although the gold and silver swordsmen had also been poisoned, their physiques were different. After being poisoned, the poison would disappear in 3 days. Moronging had asked them to hide nearby so that they could wait for a chance to rescue her. You also have 2 handsome guards. Not bad. Li Fan was slightly jealous. Why didn't you assign a female guard for me? I assigned one for you. Moronging said openly, but she kind of hates you. After working for 2 days, she quit. She began to shift the blame. Look, it's all your fault. It's too annoying. You can't blame me. Fuck. I am infinitely charming, okay? Li Fan pursed his lips. At that moment, Master Yu Su seemed to have finished chanting. He put his palms together and said, Ba, Alliance Master Morong, this old monk's body is already old. It's not suitable for a long journey, so I can't accompany you. However, I have already informed a monk in the sect to go to the Medicine King Valley to help Alliance Master Morong. How did you inform him? Li Fan said that there seemed to be no other monks on the Wudong Mountain apart from Yu Su. I sent him a text message. Master Yu Su hurriedly stuffed his mobile phone into his sleeve. This monk is rather intelligent, so he is unique in the temple and has a special Dharma name, Bodhi. In that case, I shall accept your request. Moronging found it hard to turn him down, so she agreed. I'll go and check on Li Wei's whereabouts. Yu Shi also bade farewell. Although she liked to spend time with Li Fan, it was limited to being alone. Now that there were 3 more people, it would be meaningless. Okay, let's say goodbye here. Without further ado, Li Fan did not want his wife to suffer too much. In that case, I won't accompany you any longer. Su Zhenrong could not be thick-skinned. I'll go back and report this matter to Alliance Master Long. He has some ties with the Valley Master of the Medicine King Valley, so he might be able to help. Hence, Muronging had no choice but to cup her hands and watch Su Junrong leave. She wondered if the request for medicine this time would be successful. Chapter 474. Regardless of whether Li Fan was willing or not, they arrived at a small town near Medicine King Valley 3 days later. The monk that Master Yusu mentioned is waiting for us here. Murong Ying, accompanied by Li Fan and the golden and silver swordsman, sat in a black Toyota Alpha. Li Fan had to admit that this Murong villa was indeed a big business. Even this place had the property of Murong's family. That, wife, what does Murong's family do? Why are there people from your family everywhere? Li Fan couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. Real estate. With just 3 simple words, Li Fan understood. Fuck, so they're in real estate. No wonder they can spread out such a large industrial chain. Li Fan was already a little impressed. He seemed to have found an amazing wife. Well, her identity as the leader of the martial arts world was even more amazing. He should be living in this hotel. The car stopped in front of a small hotel, and Muronging glanced at the name of the hotel. Nightlife. This hotel was also a bunker. How could they name it like that? It would be better to call it Cannon Room. I'm also speechless. A monk lives in this kind of place, Li Fan said. Wait in the car, I'll go take a look. He opened the door, jumped out of the car, and walked into the small hotel. In any case, this was better than the hotel that Li Fan saw in Golden Eagle Castle. At least it was considered formal. However, there were only guest rooms on the first floor of the hotel, but a row of red lights was lit on the second floor, making people have all kinds of messy thoughts. The boss was a middle-aged man. He was sleepy at first, but when he saw Li Fan, he was refreshed. Brother, do you want to play? The boss asked directly. No, I'm looking for someone. Li Fan asked, do you have a monk here? Brother, this is a formal hotel. How can I divulge the information of my guests? The boss said with a smile, rubbing his fingers at the same time. A proper hotel? Li Fan wanted to laugh. Which proper hotel would have a sex room upstairs? He slammed his palm on the counter, leaving a 1 centimeter deep palm print. Boss, do I need to ask again? Brother. I was just being polite. The boss looked at the clear palm print and almost peed his pants. I don't know about the monk, but there's a baldy living on the 3rd floor. Which room? 303. Li Fan turned around and went upstairs, leaving the shivering bosses behind. It wasn't that Li Fan couldn't pay him. This kind of person was easy to get rid of. A few $100s was enough to get him to say everything. However, Li Fan was unwilling to be threatened by him. The name Little Tyrant was not for nothing. Li Fan went straight to the 3rd floor. There were 2 scantily clad women standing on the stairs of the 2nd floor. They were smoking and flirting with Li Fan. However, what kind of person was Li Fan? Not only did he have a beautiful woman at home, he also had many supreme beauties outside. This kind of trash, he didn't fancy. Li Fan walked to the 3rd floor and felt sweat dripping down. The entire corridor of the 3rd floor was filled with the excited shouts of a woman. The shouts were incessant, accompanied by a clapping sound that echoed in the corridor. Li Fan wiped his cold sweat, who couldn't hold back and started doing it in broad daylight. Li Fan tried his best to ignore the concerto of love. He found room 303. The concerto was like a tsunami, coming out from inside. Fuck. Li Fan wiped the cold sweat on his forehead. Could it be that he was mistaken? He looked carefully. It was indeed 303 written on the door. Li Fan said that even if his education level was low, he couldn't be mistaken with the Arabic numerals. What exactly went wrong? Could it be that the boss was fooling him? In any case, Li Fan decided to give it a try first. He walked in front of the door and knocked on it. However, the sounds of pleasure and collision were still incessant. Li Fan was very embarrassed. Had the two of them reached the climax and reached a state where they had forgotten themselves? Li Fan was slightly speechless, but it was absolutely impossible for him to wait here. He was the little tyrant. Li Fan directly filled his voice with true energy and shouted, "Beauty, where the hell are you?" Although Li Fan's voice was loud, it was wrapped in true energy, so it only transmitted to the room 303 in front of him. After all, Li Fan didn't want to alarm other guests to avoid unnecessary trouble. Li Fan's shout was effective. The sound of the concerto in the room came to an abrupt stop. A deep and powerful voice came from inside. "Wait a minute, I'm wearing underwear." Li Fan's forehead was full of black lines. It seemed that it was indeed the martial monk that Master Yusu mentioned. "Beauty, this guy is actually prostituting?" Li Fan didn't know what to say. After a while, the door of room 303 was pushed open. A woman with wet hair pushed open the door and walked out. She looked at Li Fan indifferently and then used her hand to tidy up her chest that was squeezed out by the clothes. She blew a kiss at the door and said coquettishly, "Little monk, you made me feel so good. I'll give you free of charge." After that, she also winked at Li Fan. "Little brother, do you want one? The second person is half price." The woman winked at Li Fan, causing Li Fan to have a terrible headache. Seeing that Li Fan wasn't interested, the woman didn't put in much effort. She chuckled, turned around and walked away while twisting her butt. Ba, a monk wearing a suit and leather shoes came out with a red tie. He put his palms together and said politely to Li Fan, "Excuse me, are you Li Fan, benefactorly?" "That's me." "Are you Beauty?" Ba, "That's me." The monk wearing a black suit nodded. He had a delicate appearance and was about 30 years old. However, he was actually a lecher. "You came out to prostitute?" Li Fan couldn't help but ask. Ba, benefactorly is too serious. Beauty said, "Ever since I came down the mountain, I found that there are too many desires in this world. The world doesn't wake up, so I came to enlighten them. Just now, I was just doing my best to enlighten those female benefactors." "Fuck your grandpa. You enlightened them so well that they don't even want money anymore." Li Fan wanted to curse. Ba, it was this little monk who awakened their root of wisdom. They had an epiphany. "Epiphany your grandpa. Go downstairs." Li Fan grabbed Beauty's collar, pushed him into the house, and threw him out of the window. This Bodhi descended from the sky, but he put his palms together and stomped his feet on the ground, leaving 2 footprints on the ground. Li Fan floated down as well. Subhoodie grumbled in a rather displeased manner. "Benefactorly, you're so impatient." Chapter 475. Don't you know Qinggong? Li Fan couldn't help but mock Subhoodie as he watched him trample on the ground. Giverly is right. This humble monk is proficient in Shaolin's 72 ultimate arts, but I don't know Qinggong. Subhoodie smiled shyly. "Damn, what a weird, flirty monk." Li Fan looked at Subhoodie again. "I really don't understand. Why would Master Yusu recommend you, Ba, because this humble monk can purify the sins of the world?" When Li Fan opened the car door, Subhoodie's eyes lit up when he saw Morong Ying. "Ba, Lady Almsgiver, this humble monk can see that you are filled with sins. Why don't I help you purify them?" "Fuck you." Li Fan used the Ape King cannon and sent Subhoodie flying more than 10 meters away. Subhoodie smashed into a building, creating a human-shaped hole in the staircase. "This is young master's wife. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll pull out your penis, you perverted monk," Li Fan said angrily. Ba, so it's Alliance Master Morong. This humble monk was wrong. "Please forgive me, Almsgiver Li." Subhoodie put his palms together at Li Fan. My sins, my sins. If you flirt again, be careful of your lower body," Li Fan reminded Subhoodie. Subhoodie nodded. "Don't worry, Almsgiver Li. This humble monk was born to purify the world. However, this humble monk has a principle, and that is not to purify other people's wives. Li Fan was speechless for a long time. At this time, Murong Ying had already walked down from Alpha and saw the monk in the suit, pulling himself out of the hole. What kind of monk is this? He's even wearing a suit. Murong Ying couldn't help but frown. Ba, Subhoodie bowed to Murong Ying. This must be Alliance Master Murong. This humble monk is Subhoodie. Are you the person that Master Yusu mentioned? Murong Ying probably felt that it didn't look like it. Not to mention her, even Li Fan felt that it didn't look like it. This fellow was clearly a perverted monk. He didn't look like a proper monk at all. Li Fan rolled his eyes. I've already received a message from the sect master. He wants me to help Alliance Master Murong with all my might. Subhoodie clasped his hands together, seeming completely out of place with his suit. Even if we have to climb mountains of blades or swim through seas of fire, League Lord Murong, we'll do as you say. Monk, you don't even know Qinggong. What abilities do you have? Li Fan had said that this trip to the Valley of Medicine Masters to seek medicine would be fraught with danger. Bringing along a monk without any abilities would only be a burden to him and Murong Ying. Don't worry, almsgiver Li. I do have some skills. Subhoodie's voice boomed out like a great bell. I'm just using the 72 ultimate techniques of Shaolin Temple to protect myself. Subhoodie laughed. If you don't have some true abilities, how can you enlighten the world? Then what ultimate technique is it? The Buddha said, I can't say it. I can't say it. This is the ultimate technique of Shaolin Temple. The sect master has repeatedly warned me not to tell outsiders. Please forgive me, almsgiver Li. This is one of my principles. Fuck. Murong Ying frowned and reprimanded her in her delicate voice. Subhoodie, tell me the truth. Ba, it's invincible golden body. Subhoodie answered Murong Ying honestly, almost angering Li Fan to death. Damn, this monk was still a pervert. Whenever a woman asked him something, his principles would go to hell. Invincible golden body? Murong Ying was somewhat surprised. This is a divine technique that can only be comprehended when one has trained Golden Bell Shield to the extreme. I didn't expect you to have learned it. Golden Bell Shield was also one of the ultimate techniques of Shaolin Temple. Invincible Golden Body was only a legendary realm, but after hundreds of years, it seemed that not a single monk had managed to master it. How the fuck did you manage to master it? Li Fan was puzzled. Once, when I was trying to enlighten a female almsgiver, I inadvertently comprehended it. Subhoodie's words almost angered Li Fan to death. Fuck, he was wondering what the reason was, but it turned out that he had only managed to master it by fooling around. So the reason why a bunch of monks couldn't master it was because they were too scrupulously abiding by the rules. This was too ridiculous. It's said that those who master the invincible golden body will not rot even after death. I wonder if that's true. Murong Ying sized up this flowery monk with interest. Li Fan grew wary. I don't know either. After all, it's just a stinky body. Sometimes, Subhoodie's words were filled with mystery. It was hard to tell if he was a flowery monk or a living Buddha like Qigong. In short, this person gave Li Fan a headache. All right, Subhoodie has been picked up. Let's head to the Valley of the Medicine Masters. Murong Ying waved her hand, signaling for Li Fan and Subhoodie to get into the car. Let this flowery monk sit in the back. Li Fan had quite a strong opinion of Subhoodie. This flowery monk, who was so daring in his lust, should be kept away from his wife, however. Since when did he care so much about Murong Ying? It seemed like he was easily jealous of her. Yes, no matter what, she was his fiancée. Etiquette. This was all etiquette. All right, you have the final say. Murong Ying actually followed Li Fan's wishes this time, which surprised Li Fan. Ba, thank you, Alliance Master Murong. The flowery monk, who did not know Qinggong, had no other choice but to take the car. Li Fan followed Murong Ying into the Alpha. Murong Ying gently crossed her legs, looking at Li Fan with a faint smile. What's wrong with your face? Is it twitching? Li Fan reminded. This is an illness. You have to treat it. Just now, were you jealous? Murong Ying wasn't angry. Instead, she asked. What a joke. Why would I be jealous? Li Fan grinned. Who am I? People call me the little overlord. You are my woman. Only a woman will be jealous of a man. I didn't expect you to be a straight man. Not to that extent. In any case, I will not be jealous because of you. Li Fan and Morong Ing were in a state of unwillingness to admit defeat. You are definitely mistaken. You, this person, are really boring. Morong Ing ridiculed Li Fan. Obviously you are jealous. Will it kill you to admit it? You still have the nerve to say that. Li Fan curled his lips. Aren't you the same? Me? Although I am a woman, I am indomitable. Morong Ing said openly. What's the matter? I dare not admit it. Then let me ask you, do you like me? When Li Fan asked, Morong Ing was stunned for a moment. Answer me. Alliance Master Morong of the Heaven and Earth, Li Fan asked. Morong Ing turned her head to the side and looked out the window. In front of Medicine King Valley, there is a big illusion array. You must be careful. Hey, you haven't answered my question yet. The big illusion array will mislead your senses. Morong Ing continued, it is very scary. You must listen to my instructions. Humph, you are also a coward. Chapter 476. Morong Ing simply ignored Li Fan. No matter how Li Fan provoked and teased her along the way, Morong Ing just closed her eyes and rested, not saying a word. The two cars drove all the way to a mountain. There was a winding road built on the mountain, but it only reached halfway up the mountain and stopped at a small town. The small town was not big, and a stone tablet that was not very eye-catching was beside it. On it were the words, Medicine King Village, written in seal script. Legend had it that a genius apothecary had once appeared in the Medicine King Village. His miraculous hands could bring the dead back to life. At the same time, he was also proficient in the Book of Poison. At that time, the imperial court sent people to capture him and bring him to the capital to serve the imperial family. In the end, the moment he made his move, all the soldiers of the imperial court collapsed to the ground. They were afflicted with diseases, and no one was able to approach him. In the end, the imperial court had no choice but to give up on the idea of bringing him to the capital. Then, this person took root here and established the Valley of Medicine Masters. Unfortunately, no one else was able to master both the Book of Poison and the pharmacology after him. Medicine King Valley was also divided into two gates, the Ing Gate and the Yang Gate. The two gates did not interfere with each other. However, the Medicine King Valley was still a land of peach blossoms, and outsiders were forbidden from entering. Their only contact with the outside world was through this Medicine King Village. The townspeople of Medicine King Village made a living by growing medicinal herbs. Their medicinal herbs were of good quality, and there was no need to worry about sales. Therefore, the townspeople lived a relatively comfortable life. However, other than pharmacists, they did not welcome outsiders. The car stopped outside the town gate because the gate was blocked by a barricade. Two townspeople in uniform who looked like policemen were sitting in the guard tower next to them. Which company? A policeman with a cigarette in his mouth asked the man sitting in the passenger seat. One of Morong Ying's local economic advisors was sitting in the passenger seat of Alpha. He immediately took out a business card and handed it to the policeman. Brilliant Pharmaceuticals? This was the first time he had heard of it. Where's the pass? The policeman spread out his right hand. The economic advisor was also a smart person, so he immediately said, "This is our company's first time here. We heard that there are medicinal herbs here, so we came to inspect. Don't you need your village chief to issue the pass? How can I issue it if I don't see him? You can't enter without a pass." The policeman waved his hand and directly rejected them. "Boss, what should we do? They won't let us in." The economic advisor turned to Morong Ing and said, "Don't invest more than 10 billion here. I'll help you find another place to produce medicine to set up a pharmaceutical company. Hey, even if you guys invest 100 billion, it won't work." The policeman sneers, "The rules of our Medicine King village are dead. Without a pass, no one is allowed to enter. What should we do? The economic advisor was at his wit's end this time. Li Fan opened the door and got out of the car. Where does your village chief live? Li Fan walked up enthusiastically and asked. You can't get in no matter where he lives. The policeman rolled his eyes. It seemed like he didn't even want to point the way. But at this moment, Li Fan suddenly moved behind him with a black shadow and knocked on his neck. The policeman immediately fainted. The other policeman in the watchtower directly reached for the pistol on his waist. But Li Fan reached out and grabbed his head. With a twist of his tiger claw, the policeman directly fainted. Umidba. Sinful, sinful. Pewdie clasped his hands together. This little monk is a monk. I can't bear to see this bloody scene. Damn, you wine and meat monk. Why are you pretending to be stupid? Li Fan returned to the car, tidied up his clothes and said, Let's go and find the way to Medicine King Valley. Let's get off the car. We'll walk. Murong Ing reminded them. This village is not big. 2 cars is too conspicuous. Okay, let's walk. Li Fan thought that the 5 of them wouldn't attract too much attention. But the gold and silver swordsman with 2 swords on his back had a black face as if someone owed him millions. Not to mention that flowery monk Pewdie. Black suit, bald head, with a code on the back of his head. He looked like a killer 47. Plus, a beauty like Murong Ing seemed to be more high-profile than driving. Forget it. Since they were already here, they might as well make the best of it. They have not seen Medicine King Valley yet. How could they be stumped by a small Medicine King village? The few of them got off the car and walked into Medicine King Village. The village was indeed not big. The inside of the village exuded a strong medicinal fragrance. Even though it was freezing cold outside, Medicine King Valley was originally located in a place suitable for all 4 seasons. At this moment, the sun was shining brightly and everything was green. Umidba. Living in this place, one can definitely live a long life. Pewdie seemed to like the environment here. Li Fan reminded him. Master Pewdie, you are a monk. Is longevity really that important? Li Fan glanced sideways at him, while Subhoodie clasped his hands together and gave a very reasonable explanation. This little monk came to the mortal world to enlighten the people. To be able to live for 2 more years and enlighten more people is better than this little monk transcending early. As the saying goes, if I don't go to hell, who will? Damn. This was the first time Li Fan saw a person who talked nonsense with a straight face. He and Yin Kai could make a pair. One was pretentious, the other was a tiger in a tiger's skin. The entrance to Medicine King Valley is a bewitching array. Murong Ing stood in the village and looked around. Look, where do you think it looks like the entrance to Medicine King Valley? Isn't that simple? Li Fan laughed. Just grab someone and ask. We walked for a long time and didn't see a single person. Ask who? It's okay. They are coming, Li Fan said and looked back. There were 7 or 8 villagers, carrying hoes and shovels in their hands. They walked over aggressively. Who dares to cause trouble in the village? Arrest them. These villagers were very angry. The people of Medicine King Village were very xenophobic. Everyone, please don't be angry. Murong Ing cupped her hands at them. I am Murong Ing, the leader of Wulin. I came to Medicine King Valley to pay a visit. Bah, you woman. You look pretty, but your words are so unreliable. Ridiculous. Even if the leader came, without a pass, he can't enter our village. These villagers had the same opinion. They didn't care what Murong Ing said. If they couldn't enter, they wouldn't let them in. Do you want me to help you deal with them? Li Fan asked. No need. Gold and silver swordsman. With Murong Ying's order, the gold and silver swordsman immediately stretched out his finger. The sword on his back was unsheathed and jumped into the air. Just don't take their lives, Murong Ing said. The 2 of them understood and used their true chi to control their swords and attacked the villagers. The 2 swords only used the hilt to knock on the villagers' temples. It was neither light nor heavy and directly knocked them out. Chapter 477. The gold and silver swordsman's movements were clean and efficient. Soon, these villagers were knocked unconscious, leaving only one person, who was captured by the gold swordsman and thrown in front of Morong-ing. That villager's face was filled with fear. He tightly grasped the shovel in his hand and looked at Morong-ing. "I have no intention of harming your lives," Morong-ing explained in a friendly manner. "As long as you tell me where the Medicine King Valley is, it will be fine." That villager's face suddenly changed. The shovel in his hand aimed at Morong-ing's beautiful face and fiercely slammed down. Morong-ing did not move. She only sighed. And flowery monk Pewdie was standing in front of her. He used his forehead to block the shovel. Dang! Bam! The shovel slammed into his head. The wooden pole immediately broke. The shovel head flew out and smashed to the side. And Pewdie stood there with his hands clasped together like an old monk in meditation. He was completely fine. This guy, his body is almost made of iron. Li Fan could not help but think. Monster. The villager was frightened. Obviously, he had never seen a guy who was invulnerable. "Benefactor, may I ask where the Medicine King Valley is?" Pewdie's face was kind. Li Fan felt that this guy was asking, "Benefactor, where do you go to the Western Paradise?" In terms of temper, this guy was definitely comparable to Tang Song. It was just that his degree of lust was something that Tang Song could not catch up to. "If Benefactor is unhappy, you can hit this little monk again." Pewdie continued. "When Benefactor is happy, you can tell this little monk. This little monk will wait for you." That villager was speechless. He suddenly pulled out a small dagger from his bosom and fiercely stabbed Pewdie's stomach. Dang! This dagger stabbed Pewdie's stomach. Pewdie was fine, but the dagger was bent. The villager felt like peeing in his pants. Pewdie continued to ask patiently, "Benefactor, are you feeling better?" "Get out of my way." Li Fan pushed Subhoodie away. It would be a miracle if this bastard could get anything out of him. Li Fan picked up the villager. His fiancée had been poisoned, but this bunch of people were still busy being xenophobic. Right now, he really couldn't be polite. "You don't want to talk? Looks like it's useless even if you keep your tongue." Li Fan pinched the villager's chin and pulled out his tongue. "I'll help you throw him away." The villagers were both shocked and in pain. They hurriedly let out strange cries. "Bah! This is too cruel." Subhoodie couldn't bear to do this. He closed his eyes. "Li Fan, give him a chance." Morong-ing patted Li Fan's shoulder and began to sing a duet with him. "If he doesn't talk, it won't be too late for you to pull out his tongue." "All right." Li Fan loosened his grip, and the villager turned pale with fright. He quickly pointed to a small forest in the distance. After crossing that forest, "We'll be there. You've saved your life." Li Fan continued to hold the villager. For now, the five of them brought the villager to the vicinity of the small forest. In this small forest, there was a winding path that led to an unknown place. "Heroes, from here, walk forward for 500 meters. You'll almost reach the entrance of Medicine King Valley." The villager continued to point the way for them. "I'm just a farmer. Please let me go. No one wants to kill you." Li Fan rolled his eyes. "Do what you need to do. Next time you see outsiders, don't shout to kill them. Medicine King Valley's herbs are extremely precious. In the past, there were always people who came to steal them." The villager tried to explain. "That's why we're so xenophobic. Seeing outsiders is no different than seeing thieves. If this goes on, the village will be finished sooner or later." Li Fan reminded them. "You might as well directly hire some experts from Medicine King Valley, or hire some external experts to protect you. You earn so much money, yet you're still so stingy. If thieves don't patronize you, who would they patronize?" The villager was speechless. Then, he was abandoned by Li Fan. Morong-ing and the others followed the winding path, looking for Medicine King Valley. Medicine King Valley should be a valley. From the mountainside of this small forest, they should be able to see it. But before entering the small forest, Morong-ing let the gold and silver swordsman take out a rope. "Everyone tie this rope to your body. This way, in the soul confusion array, You can look out for each other. The gold and silver swordsmen distributed the rope. There was a total of one, divided it into several sections, and tied it to their body. These ropes tied 5 people. This way, after entering the soul confusion array, it should be better. In front of them was a thick fog. They didn't know whether it was a natural fog or man-made fog. Li Fan used to read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. In the water margin, it often said that there would be some Taoist priests who would make fog or something. But in reality, there shouldn't be such people. Everyone be careful. This fog is unusual. Morong Ing reminded them. Be careful. Got it. Li Fan took out his phone and used satellite positioning. In the end, he found that he couldn't receive any signal here. It seemed that using the phone to locate them wouldn't work. If he had known earlier, he would have asked Ling Tian for a GPS. But his GPS always had problems. Forget it, Li Fan was thinking. But when he looked up, he found that the surrounding people had disappeared. And the rope on his waist, he didn't know when it broke. Damn, what's going on? Li Fan was a little crazy. He quickly raised his voice and shouted twice. Morong Ing? Flowery monk? Li Fan shouted several times. Each shout was filled with true energy, almost piercing through the clouds. But the surrounding was still quiet. It was as if the fog had squeezed into his ears, blocking the surrounding sounds. Li Fan's hair stood on end. Fuck, was it really that weird? He stood in this fog, momentarily lost. There was not a single sound around. Li Fan couldn't even hear his own footsteps. What kind of ghost fog is this? It actually has such an effect? Li Fan was a little uncertain. He had never encountered such a situation before. Everything in front of him seemed to be vaguely unreal. Some kind of oppressive feeling assaulted him. This feeling was very uncomfortable, making Li Fan a little nauseous. Li Fan followed the road in front and kept moving forward. He walked for a full half an hour, but he still couldn't see any direction. The surrounding was still filled with fog, as if there was no end. Li Fan had an illusion that he seemed to have stepped into death, being dragged by death into this endless place. If this goes on, I'm afraid I'll starve to death here. Li Fan simply sat down and began to think of a way to solve this so-called bewitching array. But at this moment, Li Fan vaguely saw that in the thick fog in front of him, there seemed to be a huge Buddha statue. Chapter 478. Buddha statue? Li Fan was a little surprised. How could there be a Buddha statue in a place like this? A series of chanting Buddhist scriptures appeared beside Li Fan's ears. Who was chanting Buddha? Right. It was the flowery monk Subhoodie. But where was he chanting? Why was this voice right beside his ears? Li Fan suddenly understood something. He closed his eyes, and then suddenly opened them. He was still standing in the fog, and the rope around his waist was not broken. He could vaguely see the figures of the other 4 people. Subhoodie stood there with his hands clasped together, chanting Buddhist scriptures. It was as if the surrounding white fog did not affect him at all. Li Fan also guessed that it was this ghost fog that could cause people to hallucinate. The moment they breathed in the white fog, they were all poisoned. Even the gold and silver swordsmen would not be detoxified without 3 days. But this flowery monk Subhoodie completely ignored the poisonous fog. Could it be that this invincible golden body was not afraid of poison? Invincible golden body, invulnerable to all evils? But other than him, the other 3 did not seem to have woken up. Especially Morong Ing. She had lost her internal energy. It would be difficult for her to wake up from this fog. Amiba, benefactorly, you are finally awake. Subhoodie seemed to be relieved. This little monk has chanted the Diamond Sutra for almost an hour, and benefactorly has finally woken up. What kind of fog is this? Seeing that the other 3 had not woken up, Li Fan knew that with Subhoodie's chanting alone, he would not be able to wake the 3 of them. This Medicine King Valley is indeed strange. They even set up a poison array at the entrance. Li Fan smiled. This bunch of people are looking down on me, the little tyrant. Of course, there is also your contribution. Ba, this little monk is only helping the people of the world. Subhuti said indifferently, everything is due to the great wisdom of Buddha. All right, time to disperse the fog. As Li Fan spoke, he took 2 steps back and stood outside the fog. Then, he took a horse stance and folded his hands around his waist. Behind Li Fan, a huge dragon toad slowly appeared. Golden toad spitting pearls. Li Fan pushed his hands forward. The dragon toad opened its huge mouth and spat out a huge wave. A powerful palm wind swept out from Li Fan's body, directly blowing away the huge white fog in front of him. Subhuti was stunned for a moment. Clearly, he hadn't expected Li Fan to have such a method. Ba. He seemed rather speechless and could only chant the Buddhist scriptures twice. A huge valley appeared in front of them. The valley was covered in a thin layer of mist. There were many houses in the valley where the people who lived in the Medicine King Valley lived. Due to the white mist dispersing, Murong-ing and the gold and silver swordsman slowly woke up. Were there ghosts in the fog just now? Murong-ing was smart. She knew what was going on the moment she woke up. The gold and silver swordsman stood at the side, feeling rather ashamed. Clearly, he resented himself for not being able to protect his master. Since we're already here, we might as well go in and greet them. Li Fan stretched his body and casually asked, we should be considered guests, right? Of course, and we're honored guests. Murong-ing was also somewhat dissatisfied. Obviously, the dignified martial arts alliance leader was actually played by this inexplicable white fog. This really made her angry. Dang, dang, dang. In the valley at the foot of the mountain, the sound of a bell rang. Looks like they're also here to welcome guests. Li Fan clenched his fist. He was also extremely angry. This trip to the Valley of the Medicine Masters was really exhausting. Hurry up and get the antidote, then leave this damn place. Medicine King Valley was still very deep. The 5 people walked to the edge. There was a large lift here, but the lift was at the bottom. If the people of Medicine King Valley did not lift the lift, normal people would not be able to go down. You guys wait here for a moment. Li Fan looked at the 1,000-meter-high valley floor. I'll be right back. Ba, this 1,000-meter deep valley, no matter how good almsgiver Li's Qinggong is, it will inevitably be dangerous. Subhuti spoke first. Why not leave it to this little monk? With that, without giving Li Fan and the others time to refuse, Subhuti directly jumped down from the 1,000-meter deep sky. Damn, this brother doesn't know any Qinggong at all. Li Fan was shocked. Was this flowery monk looking for death? While Subhuti's body was in midair, in the process of falling, he curled up into a ball, like a ball. Boom. The earth trembled violently. Subhuti directly smashed a huge pit in the ground. It was like a meteorite falling from the sky. This terrifying destructive power. That flowery monk. Was he still alive? Subhuti stretched his muscles and slowly stood up from the deep pit. He opened his mouth and apologized to the dumbfounded Medicine King Valley disciple beside him. Ba, I'm really sorry. I scared almsgiver. Damn it. The Medicine King Valley disciple pulled out a large knife and fiercely slashed at Subhuti's neck. Dang. Subhuti's neck did not move at all, but the knife's edge was bent. What the hell? The Medicine King Valley disciple was stunned, looking at the bent knife in shock. Ba, playing with knives and spears can hurt people. Subhuti said, reaching out his hand, grabbed the knife's edge and directly bent it. Eat my poison. The disciple had no choice but to take out a small cloth bag from his waist and let it fall. His level seemed to be very low, so he could only use the most primitive method to set up the poison fog. The green poison fog spread out. Subhuti put his hands together and stood in the fog, motionless. Damn, just one breath of this poison fog and your blood will stop flowing. 2 breaths and your blood will reverse. 3 breaths and your blood vessels will burst. Even an elephant will die from just 1 breath. The Medicine King Valley disciple said fiercely. Subhoodie, however, let out a sigh. Bah. Almsgiver's murderous aura is so heavy. Fuck, fuck, fuck. The Medicine King Valley disciple almost peed his pants. Why wasn't he dead? This was too damn strange. This poison was very powerful. Even an elephant would be poisoned to death, much less a monk. It would be bad if this poison fog harmed the flowers and plants. Subhoodie said, inhaling all the poison fog into his lungs in 1 breath. Seeing this scene, the Medicine King Valley disciple completely collapsed. Almsgiver, if possible, please retreat, Subhoodie said. It will be very dangerous here. There is a very scary person coming down from above. Monster! Save me! The Medicine King Valley disciple was so frightened that he turned and ran. Subhoodie nodded in satisfaction. He walked to the side of the elevator, glanced at the elevator, and was a little dumbfounded. A sound wave reached Li Fan's ears. Almsgiverly, this elevator, how do I use it? Chapter 479. Li Fan descended from the sky. His body stomped continuously in the air. Finally, he spun in the air and landed firmly on the ground. Li Fan landed without a sound. He was fundamentally different from Bodhi, who had caused a huge commotion. Bodhi seemed to be in a daze. He did not expect Li Fan's Qigong to be so elegant. Almsgiver Li is indeed extraordinary. Fuck, you have the nerve to talk about others? Looking at the huge crater on the ground, Li Fan felt incredulous. This guy, is his body made of steel? Invincible golden body. This is too heaven-defying. Li Fan was tempted. Although this martial monk was a bit lecherous, if he could rope him into the escort agency, it would be beneficial to the agency's business. This lecherous monk must be annoyed to death by the Shaolin Temple. Otherwise, they would not have sent him to Morong-ing as if he was a gift. Bodhi, how are you doing in the Shaolin Temple? Li Fan continued to lower and lower the elevator while asking Subhoodie, who was standing next to him. Not bad. Bodhi was slightly disappointed, but the food in the Shaolin Temple is too bland, and there are too few female benefactors. Occasionally, 1 or 2 female benefactors who need to be enlightened come, but my senior and junior brothers keep a close eye on me and don't give me the chance to enlighten them and become a Buddha. Li Fan blushed with shame. Then why don't you follow me? Li Fan began to spread the bait. I have a brother who knows many female benefactors who need to be enlightened. Really? Bodhi's eyes brightened. Yes. Don't judge me by my looks. I also have the heart to enlighten people. Li Fan pointed at himself and laughed. But I don't have the ability to enlighten people. Bodhi is better at this than I am. Bah. This little monk only knows a little about Buddhism. Bodhi was a little shy. Then you can come with me later. Li Fan began his plan to become a human trafficker. Judging from the look on Subhoodie's face, it seemed as though he was tempted as well. Then I'll listen to Benefactor Li's arrangements. What about the Shaolin Temple? Won't they let you go back? The host said that I should go down the mountain to train, but I can't use Shaolin Temple's name when I go out to train. Li Fan understood what Subhoodie's explanation meant. This old monk had kicked his disciple out of the door. Why don't you let him go out and smear Shaolin's name? For a monk like Subhoodie who drank and ate meat, to let him stay in Shaolin Temple would indeed only cause headaches for the monks in the temple. All right, you can stay by my side from now on. I guarantee that you'll have a girl to sleep with. Bah. It's benefactor expiation. Don't be mistaken. Yes, yes, yes. Expiate. It's expiation. Li Fan laughed. It's my fault. My fault. I won't say it again. He cursed inwardly. Fuck. This darn monk sure has a good reputation. In the legends, The one who had to erect a chastity memorial after becoming a prostitute was probably the one in front of him. After the lift rose up, it finally descended. Murong Ying and the gold and silver swordsman walked out at the same time. We're finally here. Murong Ying looked at the small town in the valley in front of her and said softly, "Let's have a talk with the Yang sect's sect master. Do you think they'll welcome us warmly?" Li Fan looked at the Medicine King Valley in front of him and asked subconsciously, "They'll definitely welcome us, but it's hard to say if they'll be warm or not." As Murong Ying spoke, she led the way into the depths of the Medicine King Valley. Li Fan shrugged and followed behind his fiancée. This woman was still so bold even though she had lost her internal energy. "Stop. If you take another step forward, you'll be killed without mercy." A voice blew in everyone's face like a gust of wind. The voice sounded old, like an old lady's. There was no one around, but no one knew where the voice came from. "I'm Murong Ying." Murong Ying said loudly, "Ask your sect master to speak." "Murong Ying, I don't know you." The voice was still cold. "Hurry up and get lost. Otherwise, I'll use poison to melt your bones." What a big tone. Murong Ying couldn't help but laugh. "I want to see what kind of poison it is." As she spoke, Murong Ying took out the poison-repelling pearl that Li Fan had just given her and put it under her tongue. Li Fan had already sealed his qi door with true qi to prevent the invisible poisonous fog from invading. Putua was invulnerable, and the gold and silver swordsmen had a natural immunity to poison. Now the five of them were the bane of poisons in their professions. "The people of Medicine King Valley, if you don't come out, I won't be polite." Li Fan was very unhappy. The people of Medicine King Valley were too arrogant. "Ridiculous. I told you to get lost. Didn't you hear me?" The voice became even sharper, stimulating Li Fan's eardrums. This old woman seemed angry, but Li Fan pointed to the tower next to him. "Little Gold, come with your sword." Little Gold naturally referred to the gold and silver swordsman. He didn't listen to Li Fan's words, but looked at his master. Murong Ying nodded and pointed. The golden sword on his back was unsheathed and instantly shot toward the tower in the distance. Aya, a petite figure immediately fell from the tower, fell to the ground, holding her buttocks and groaning. She looked to be about 12 years old. She was still a child. "Pretending to be an old woman to talk to us, isn't it a bit childish?" Li Fan squatted on the ground, smiling at this little girl. "Humph." This little girl snorted and unhappily stared at Li Fan. "I'm not a little girl. I'm already 29 years old. I'm the current leader of Gate." Li Fan was taken aback. "This girl is the leader? You must be joking." Seeing Li Fan's eyes, the little girl quickly emphasized, "I'm not lying to you. I'm really the leader of Gate." "Then let me ask you, do you know Song Foya? Her? That's our Medicine King Valley's traitor." The little lowly immediately clenched her teeth. "She's as hateful as you intruders." "Humph. Now that you know I'm the leader, you better kneel down and pay your respects. Otherwise, I'll poison you all to death." Haha. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. "The beauty standing behind me is called Murong Ying, the current leader of Wulin. I don't even kneel when I see her. Why should I kneel when I see a little leader like you?" "Leader of Wulin? Her? I don't believe she doesn't have any internal strength." The little lowly curled her lips. "I don't have internal strength. It's all because of your Medicine King Valley." Murong Ying sneered. "Song Foya, this debt is on you, right?" "Oh?" The little lowly patted her clothes, stood up and looked at Murong Ying. "So you're saying you're poisoned by Indra?" "Indra?" Everyone looked at each other. This was the first time they heard this name. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.